clip I asked you to get before the show.
Do you hear what I hear? Hear what I hear?
Play one more time.
Do you hear what I hear? Hear what I hear?
What's that? Oh, I know what that is. It's the Embiid haters quiet yet again. 34, 10, and 6 in just 30 minutes. And the Sixers win 146-101. Once again, game time decision. We'll find out during shoot around. He just goes, I got this. 34, 10, and 6 in 30 minutes. Crickets. Crickets. Not even crickets. Silence. Nothing. That's what I hear. Nothing.
Do you hear what I hear? Hear what I hear?
Nothing. The Embiid haters. Silent. Yet again. Let's go to Justin in Louisville. Justin, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, how you guys doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Doing well. Yeah, so I'm going to overreact. I can probably overreact on a lot of things.
All right.
I can overreact that right now the past 3 weeks. They should have lost to the Bills. I'm not real sure if they're even a top 10 team right now.
Oh.
They're never ready to play. Sirianni never has them ready to play. A.J. Brown, he's alive when everything's going well, but when things aren't going well, you never hear from the guy.
Okay.
I mean, he had a terrible game the other night.
So A.J.
He
Brown's a
calls
front
everybody
runner.
out, but he don't want to take no accountability when he doesn't play well. So I don't see a lot of good coming out of this the rest of the year, and I think they got another bad loss in them between the Giants or the Cardinals.
All right, so you agree with Ray as well. There's a possibility. Now, I got to ask you, what makes you say, and again, I'm not, if somebody says something that I think is completely ludicrous like you just did, I'm not attacking. I need to know what makes you say they're not even a top 10 team, Justin?
Well, so you could make the argument, in my opinion. I mean, they're barely beating teams. They've gotten lucky all year and skate by with the overtime win in Washington. And then you got Buffalo. They're just like I said. There's not the amount of talent that they had last year, and I just the coordinators are bad, and they're getting out-coached every week. I just don't think Sirianni's got them ready to go every week.
All right, so I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to do a cardinal sin for myself. So today's Tuesday. We do the NFL Power Rankings every Tuesday at 12:30, and I don't look at them until we do the segment itself. So I didn't see where the Eagles are. I didn't see where anybody else is. I just scrolled to the 10th team because you said they're not even a top 10 team right now. Currently at number 10 is the Cleveland Browns. Do you really believe the Eagles aren't better than the Cleveland Browns?
They got a great defense in there at Cleveland.
They got Joe Flacco at quarterback, man.
He's been killing it the past couple of weeks. They could shred the Eagles secondary.
Maybe. I appreciate the call, Justin. Look, I'm not attacking. It's a you call Tuesday. You want to overreact? The floor is yours. Come on, man. Don't give me the Cleveland Browns are better than the Eagles right now, and don't give me Joe Flacco. He could maybe carve up the Eagles defense. You know. All right, come on. But come on, Jalen.
I'm in a dark place, and even I'm not sitting here with Joe Flacco carving up the Eagles defense.
Come on, man. He came out the gate with 3. Again, I'm taking note of all these. I gave you 2 of my own. That Hurts has regressed from last season. And again, regressed from second best quarterback to like 5th. So don't think I also think he's a bottom 3rd quarterback. Take Joe Flacco over him. I did not say Desai stinks, Gannon's better, but John Kincaid said that when I was on with him this morning. You gave the team has hit a wall, and there's a chance that they lose 2 more games this year, not just Seattle, which would be 3-game losing streak, by the way.
Yes. That's just the sum of all my fears after the 49ers game.
And then you bounce back against the Giants, but then you lose to Jonathan Gannon.
Which, again, that's more cynical brain. That's more like, wow, how could this be hurt the most? How could this be the most cruel irony in the world? That would be the one for me. Joe K tweeted me already to seek help.
Yeah,
so,
well, you might need it.
I might need it.
And that's okay.
Sports therapy.
If you need help, you need help. Should have lost to the Bills, our caller just gave. Now, I hate that narrative. They won. Okay? You could say they should have lost any team. You could have said they should have beaten any team. I could say they should have beaten the Jets. Right? I hate that. Earlier today, Pat asked me a question. What's the thing you're tired of talking about the most? And for me, it's they're 10-3, but they could be 7-6. Like, I don't like that kind of stuff. Like, no, they won those games. Give them credit, they won those games. But he goes as far as saying that they're not even a top 10 team right now. And then he says A.J. Brown's a front runner. He's only good when things are going well. Now, you can also make the case that he's the reason why the offense may tick. And when teams are slowing him down, it doesn't work as well. The accountability thing, I didn't hear him after the Cowboys. Remember, there was the one the Jets game this year. He just walked out. He didn't speak to the media. So that's actually okay. See what you're saying? But then again, if he's emotional, probably not the first time somebody's walked out because they didn't want to see their boss or they didn't want to talk to somebody about their show or their business pitch or, whatever. Wouldn't be the first time in life where you didn't want to talk to somebody about something not going well.
I'd say so.
Yeah. So, all right. A.J. Brown's a front runner. Okay. I'm going to guess, hold on. There will be 90% overreactions and only 10% devil's advocates by the end of the show.
I think early overreaction, I think we'll be surprised by the end. Once we overreact for so long, someone sitting here annoyed with the fact that we're overreacting is going to devil's advocate. And I think we might get a little bit of a brigade that comes in later in this show. Okay. That's my early prediction.
All right, well, we want to hear from you. 610-632-0975. Let's go to Eric in Bucks County. Eric, you're on the Fanatic.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Eric?
Aside from Jalen Hurts' regression, because take away his push touchdowns this year, and his season really isn't really special at all. He should be nowhere near the MVP conversation.
My only thing is,
aside from wins.
My only thing is, okay, you take away the push touchdown, so what? He hands it off to DeAndre Swift instead. He did drive them down the field to get to the 1 yard line.
Yeah, I understand, but people still look at touchdowns. People still look at interceptions, which, by the way, he has 15 turnovers this year.
He's turned the ball over way too much. Yeah.
Last year, I remember Dak got dragged horribly for the amount of picks that he threw, and Jalen seems to be getting a pass. But the point I wanted to make even more so is you watched on Sunday night what Micah Parsons did to Lane Johnson. That hasn't happened for the last few years. Lane Johnson has been the only person that I've seen that's been able to stop Micah Parsons at will, and it's almost like a switch flipped this past Sunday, and it's scary.
The previous week he locked down Bosa.
I understand, but
Bosa did quite literally nothing. As dominant as the Niners
Bosa
were,
and Micah Parsons are different players. Bosa can't replicate what Micah Parsons can do on the field, and you see him twice a year now. You're going to see Micah twice a year. Every year.
All right. He kept him in check the first time they played each other.
I agreed. But now you see what's slowly happening. Micah Parsons still very young. Lane Johnson's essentially at the tail end of his career. Jason Kelsey's going to be gone. Lane Johnson. Once you lose those two players, you better start picking up players, because if you lose the battle on the fronts, you're done. And the Eagles defense, we don't even want to start with that, because they're a sieve. They're a literal sieve. So you might be playing bad teams, and they might still be in games because they're going to be putting up points. If the Giants start putting up points against us, it's going to be embarrassing. If Tommy DeVito does that,
well, yeah, that would. I think.
You think that's out of the realm of possibility?
No, not at this point. But I would hope that they slowed down Tommy DeVito. I mean, look,
listen, everyone thought, Shaq Leonard's coming. He's a depth piece.
Well,
he's not a starter.
Nobody really thought Shaq Leonard was going to come in here and be all-pro Shaq Leonard.
No, obviously not. But people literally thought that he was going to be a starter or a starter type. And if he's going to be, he's not going to be that good. The guy had 2 back surgeries back-to-back. Do you know how hard it is to play at the level you used to play at after having 2 back surgeries?
I don't, because I've been fortunate to not have back surgeries yet, Eric, and I appreciate the call, but I can imagine it's not that easy. Wow. O-line. He really liked Micah Parsons.
I think he went right down the spiral as well. He opened up with the O-line, and by the end of this, Tommy DeVito was throwing for 4 touchdowns at the link on Christmas Day.
I got to jot that down. Tommy DeVito will carve up Eagles defense.
Well, let's be yes, 1 game for Lane Johnson, but overall,
And don't give me
The
the whole
concern-
Parsons and Bosa are different. Okay, maybe they're different players, but Bosa's still a freaking beast, and Lane Johnson locked him up the entire game.
Yeah, but I don't know if the concern's totally unfounded. Like,
No,
I
it's
think
not.
it's long term.
Especially because he's banged up.
Yeah, long term, and it's also like how much longer can he go? Like, we give him all the props in the world for playing through what he's playing through every single time, But just this season, he's been out a couple times to deal with stuff. Last year, obviously, played through what he played through. Like, that'll take a toll on you at some point. If the next option's Jack Driscoll, yeah, you want to start having cause for concern. So
Yeah, that's true.
I understand his nerves. I don't know if it's so much a level of play thing for me when it comes to Lane. It's more of a, how long is
future.
this sustainable?
Well, I told you what my dad said the other day. I think I said it, or I might have been during one of the pregame shows. My dad said this team seems like a team that's going to get old fast.
It's funny. My dad said the exact same thing during the game.
It was kind of scary when he said that. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, all right. 610-632-0975. You call it Tuesday. Call in and either overreact or try to play devil's advocate. Now, the overreaction is winning. Right now, overreaction is the San Francisco 49ers and devil's advocate is the Eagles. It's just nonstop. Now, another Eric checks in. I guess I have to stop playing the Do You Hear What I Hear already. Because he checks it. Come on, dude. Wow. Joe had a big game versus a team that is worse than the process Sixers, but when it matters most, he's nowhere to be found. Man,
They don't stop.
it is totally disrespectful what people say and think about Joel Embiid in this city. All right, we'll continue it all. Coming up next, we got the Vault at 11 o'clock, and it's a fun idea. Ray told me the idea, and I'm really excited for it because the worst thing about the Eagles' loss was not just falling out of the 1 seed and falling behind the Cowboys. No, not that. There was so much stuff that happened this weekend and something that happened on ESPN yesterday that we couldn't react to because of the show yesterday. So we get that chance at 11 o'clock right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers win big. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by PajamaGram. Soft, silky, a best-selling Christmas gift for her. Get a free $75 nightie with naturally nude pajamas from PajamaGram.com. Embiid, Maxey, they took off the fourth quarter in a 146-101 win over the Wizards. Sixers jumped out to a 19-2 lead early in the first quarter and just never looked back. Joel Embiid finished with 34 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. Maxey poured in 24 points. Every Sixer scored in the game, and they made 23s as a group as the team improves to 15-7 on the season. Eagles still searching for answers, coming off back-to-back blowout losses. So the 49ers and Cowboys. Eagles turn the page to Seattle next Monday. Eagles find themselves today as a wild card team right now as tiebreakers favoring the 49ers in the NFC, and for now, the Cowboys in the NFC East. Nick Sirianni will speak to the media this afternoon at 3:15. Flyers return to action tonight looking for their 5th straight win. Flyers are in Nashville to play the Predators. Puck drop is at 8. Catch the live call right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Boost Infinite. Boost Infinite's new wireless technology gives you 3 networks for the price of 1 and better service at a lower price. Visit boostinfinite.com. That's boostinfinite.com. Keep it locked here for the latest news and information. I'm right down the home for the Sixers and Flyers. 97.5 The Fanatic.
First the 49ers and now the Cowboys.
got the vault coming up in 8 minutes. A little different version of the vault. Kind of like a current events vault that we couldn't react to because of what happened on Sunday when the Eagles lost to the Cowboys. Yesterday was a day where we just talked 4 hours nonstop, doom and gloom and misery of the loss of the Cowboys. But there was a lot of stuff that happened over this weekend. There was obviously a big signing in Major League Baseball. There was an outrageous clip that aired live on ESPN. 2 outrageous clips, actually. I doubt you have the second one. Did you see the DeMarcus Lawrence one that aired? DeMarcus Lawrence of the Cowboys?
No.
Remember how I read you that clip yesterday?
Oh, no.
Oh, they let it air.
Oh, no.
It hit a mother bleeper in the mouth. Oh, it aired live on SportsCenter.
Oh, that poor,
Yeah.
underpaid, overworked person out of a job.
And then when they came back, they had to apologize, the hosts, and they did not look too happy because they're the ones that are in front of the camera, and they're probably angry about how you miss a hard mother bleeper.
Yeah.
It wasn't as soft.
Oh, you got to check it before it goes to air. Now I'm saying this, and I'm going to play something.
Yes,
probably. So I'm gonna turn off the mic.
So we got
it's a tough job.
We got that coming up at 11 o'clock. But it's a You Call It Tuesday. You either overreact from the past 2 losses or you play devil's advocate. After the vault, I will give you all that we've gotten so far. As you can imagine, overreaction is running away right now. Devil's advocate is only the one I gave so far, and that's that the schedule makers screwed over the Eagles. And it's not how I necessarily truly feel, but you can make that case. We did get a couple calls. The only reason why I'm doing it today is because we had a couple callers yesterday that were still looking for the positive light, the glimmer of hope, right? And they don't count them out just yet. And they gave their reasons why. One caller said that I should write this one down, that the Eagles aren't playing at 100% because they're trying to stay healthy. So that's why they look so bad the last 2 weeks. They're playing at like a 75% clip because they don't want to be hurt come playoff time, because the most important thing come playoff time is being healthy. So that might be a devil's advocate, even though I don't necessarily agree with it. But hey, on a You Call Tuesday, I do not freak out if you say something as ludicrous as the Eagles are not a top 10 team anymore, like one of our callers said last segment. 610-632-0975. Let's go to Edith, who was at that game, unfortunately. Edith, I hope you at least had a good time in Big D.
Oh, I had a wonderful time in Dallas, man. I'm telling you, it's a great city. That stadium is something to see. OMG.
Yeah, what was it like walking into there? Because I was like, look,
God.
you walk into the Link, it's your team, right? So you're excited for your team. But I can imagine you're walking into like a spaceship.
They tailgating just like we do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's we took a Lyft or Uber, whatever my daughter got, into the, down to the stadium from our hotel. We wasn't that far, about 15 minutes. And I'm telling you, it was nothing but blue and cars everywhere. It's such a big stadium. It holds so many people. It was crazy.
Yeah, like what was it like?
And I have to say, Andrew, they are very hospitable down there.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the local Cowboys fans that are annoying as hell, right? Like,
yes.
Every time I've spoken to a Cowboys fan that is originally from the area of Dallas or is living there and they call in, they're all very cordial.
I'm telling you, Southern hospitality all the way. They treated us real, even the hotel people, everything, and
That's
they
cool.
love my green hair.
Well, of course. I mean, it's
pictures.
awesome.
Oh my God, they just came up to me and, oh my God, I love your hair. Look at you, blah blah blah. And all, so that was cool. But sitting in that stadium, I was like, look, I cut the check to sit down in section 125.
Right. Oh boy, yeah.
From that door, from the field, and I'm telling you, I just was like, all the hype I had inside of me just deflated.
Yeah, I mean, they go right down the field and score, and then the Eagles are going downfield, and then they fumble. Hurts fumbles.
Look, I don't know what's wrong with our team. It's something going on. I think Hurts is hurt, and they're not saying how hurt he is. I think Lane is still hurting from his injury because they didn't play nowhere near how they've been playing in the beginning of the season. And it just seems like they don't even talk on. I checked the sideline to see, if I could see anybody, making some scenes or something over there. I mean, they need to get revved up. Somebody need to go over there and get them revved up for these next 3 games we've got to play. Because from what I see, it's just like lacy-daisy.
Yeah, it's been rough.
No, it's been rough to see it. And, I mean, that's my team. Like I said, win, lose, or tie, that's my team. I ain't never going to give up on them ever.
No,
ever.
of
I don't
course
care whether
not.
we win the Super Bowl, don't win, don't go. It don't matter to me. I'm Eagles all the way.
All right, so are you going to go devil's advocate today, or are you going to go overreaction?
No, I'm not overreacting.
Okay, what do we got? What's your number one overreaction?
I don't know, Andrew. It's just, I mean, I just want us to win. I know. I don't
I hear
think what I seen on the field, Sunday. I don't know how we're gonna win 3 in a row. Playing with what I seen.
Yeah.
How I seen them play, I don't know how we're gonna win 3 in a row to take the number 1. And I really am hoping and praying that we do.
Yeah,
So
I hear you. Well, listen, I'm sorry that it was a bad loss, but I'm glad you at least had fun while you
I
were
had
down
fun.
there.
Yep, I sure did. And I was thinking about you too down there too. I was thinking about you.
Yeah, send me some pictures. I saw your email. I emailed you back. Send me some
you
pictures,
did.
okay?
Yep, I'll try and send some. Okay,
All right,
honey.
thanks, Edith. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's tough. You know, I've been fortunate on the Philly sports trips. Every game I've gone to on the road has been a win. Right, I did the bus drive to D.C. when they sacked Wentz 9 times. Made the trip earlier this year to Tampa. Made the trip to Denver. Right, was that last year or 2 years ago? Man, time starts to gel. That's got to suck when you make the road trip and they lose, which I did do 2004 when they lost to the Steelers when they were both 7-0. That was a long time ago. I didn't invest the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Edith was one of the first people I thought of as that game was happening.
Yeah, you make that trip, and it's it was for her retirement. She she spoiled herself to celebrate her retirement. You make that trip, and it's a beatdown like that. But she's going overreaction. So I'll run through everything that we have coming up. But it is 11 o'clock, and since it's been such a rough time in Philadelphia, and since the loss Sunday was so bad, we didn't even do a vault. We also didn't talk about some of the other big things that happened this weekend, because if you think about it, a lot of stuff happened. So let's kind of relive it. It's 11 o'clock. Time now for the vault.
You know, when we began opening this vault nearly 2 hours ago, we had no real idea what we'd find inside. As it turns out, we haven't found very much.
The Vault, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Ray, I love your idea today. You wanted to kind of do a current events that we couldn't respond to. Vault.
Yes, and we're going to start with the biggest story in sports,
Okay.
I would say, over the last couple of days, and that would be the Ohtani signing.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
$700 million, except not really $700 million, but really $700 million, and I'm not sure how this ends up happening, but I'm going to play audio for you of Jeff Passan talking about the Ohtani contract, because that's obviously a big talking point in the last 24 hours. But I would love to get your reaction to the signing, because I was on the air when it happened on Saturday, and my initial reaction was it's a disaster. He's in the NL, but hey, Eagles Cowboys is tomorrow, and we're going to continue
react to it. Yeah.
We're going to continue to focus on that.
The best way to put it is that people are absolutely flabbergasted and trying to figure out what the reason behind this deal is. For Shohei Ohtani, it's just the largest deferral imaginable. You know, a guy who on the open market we thought was going to be making $50+ million a year is going to be making $2 million. And granted, he makes a lot of money off the field, which allowed him to pursue, and that's an important point here, pursue a contract like this. We have to understand, players are not just going to sign something because teams put it in front of them. This is a dream contract for the Dodgers.
Yeah, so my first reaction to Ohtani signing with the Dodgers was, hey, how about we stop trying to report on flight patterns?
No, see, total disagreement. My favorite type of reporting is the flights.
Come on. And you know, there's a lot of I respect John Morosi a lot, but whoa. Now, I imagine he reached out to a few people. He probably wasn't like there was a guy that wrote a whole story. Like for one of these Dodger accounts. He wrote an entire article based off of a flight pattern. What? Like it was, dream of Dodgers dead, right? Like Ohtani signing with the Blue Jays based off of a flight pattern from L.A. to Toronto and rumors. about the Yusi Kikuchi renting out a sushi restaurant. What? That was my initial reaction, if I'm being honest. Then it was, oh boy, the Dodgers got Shohei Ohtani. Then it was, oh boy, they gave him a lot of money. They're not going to be able to sign any pitching. And then we got what Passon just told you. Shohei Ohtani must really want to freaking win if he agreed to this. So Shohei Ohtani gets a 10-year, $700 million contract. But during the 10 years of play contract, we'll only be getting $2 million per year. So he's going to get 20 of the $700 million in the next 10 years. And then he will get $680 million some way. I don't think he's getting a $680 million check.
$68 million per year deferred. So when it's like 2035, I think this picks up, where it will be $68 million per year.
Okay, is
or
that what it was?
2034? Because I think Bobby Bonilla Day ends in 2035. I saw someone saying we're going to have a passing of the torch. It's going to go from Bobby Bonilla Day to Shohei Ohtani Day, except Shohei Ohtani is going to be getting
$68 million, and he might still be playing in the league.
Yeah, I'm flabbergasted is a great word by it.
So kudos to the Dodgers for doing this. They want to win now. Good luck 10 years from now, I guess I would say. But it's fascinating because this dude makes a lot of money with endorsements. Not just in the United States. I imagine he rakes in the dough in Japan. He's a freaking hero in Japan.
Oh, he's going to be rich no matter how this works out. I'm trying to figure out from the Dodgers' perspective, like how you get out of that $68 million, or you just assume that that's going to be a bargain at that point.
Probably a bargain at that point, especially if they win World Series. They probably won't care. But wow, I mean, yeah, that was fascinating, the contract, and Ohtani was the one that came up with the idea.
Yeah, wild. Also, that's
sets you up for your. I mean, look, you're making $700 million in 10 years as opposed to 20 some years. Like, you're still setting up your family for a long time. But it's just crazy how he's going to be maybe retired and go, oh, there's another $68 million. $68 million. Oh my God. All right, what's next?
All right, what's next? Joel Embiid went on the Maxi on the Mic podcast. So Tyrese and Joel talking, and I made the joke to Matt Menard this week. Tyrese Maxey, good podcast. Seems like a good media future.
Yes.
In terms of content planning, I would have saved this one to drop in a week where it was an Eagles-Cowboys week. But hey, that's just me.
Well, Tyrese Maxey's a Cowboys fan.
Okay, well.
We hate Bryce Harper. Remember we talked about it
Maxey,
yesterday.
He didn't start the broadcast. He didn't start the broadcast out with
Bryce Harper, how dare he be a Cowboys fan? Everybody loves Maxey.
He didn't start the
Cowboys fan.
He was not on Sunday Night Football professing, oh, yeah, I like the Cowboys, but now I've been in Philly, so this should be a fun matchup. Make it all about himself. No, okay? Anyways, this is them talking about Ben Simmons.
Who do you think it was hard to play with, Ben or James? Because it was difficult.
Yo, what? Did you have a hard time playing with them? I don't think it was. I don't think it was hard to play with any of them. The only thing that I say about probably each of them, and I've always been one of those people that didn't believe that he didn't actually need a jumper. Like he was so good, like just freaking, he's just a monster, like just physically, like someone is freaking 6'11", just running up and down the floor faster than whatever, than, I don't know, almost as fast as you. Almost. You're faster than him, but he was almost as fast. Think about 6'11", freaking
40 inch vert,
freaking jumping high, just
guarding everybody.
Guarding like 1 through 5, like freaking monster.
But you
like,
know what?
Strong. So like I never believed that he actually needed the jumper.
Right.
I just believed that if he could find a way to get his free throws to 75-80%, that would have changed everything. Because if you think about it, if he believed that he could make shots, what would he do? He would keep attacking, and never stopping.
Right.
So I saw this on social media yesterday, and I saw somebody tweet out the quote, like the whole thing. Wow, interesting perspective out of Joel Embiid. We were saying that the whole time. It's not interesting. We were all saying it. If the dude just worked on his free throws, I did not need him bombing it away from 3. Look at Giannis. It's literally who we compared him to. If the guy just worked on his free throws, it would have led to his confidence to drive the lane. Ben Simmons had every opportunity to be Giannis Antetokounmpo, but he didn't have it here. And for if you're not watching on YouTube, he's on point of the heart. He didn't have it there. He'd rather facilitate. He'd rather play 4-on-5. It's not interesting, though. Like, that's what we all said. He just didn't do it. And the only reason why Joel Embiid sounds like he's, like, talking him up is because he's not here anymore. I imagine that it was mentally and physically draining being around that guy because you knew what the guy had or could have had, but he ain't got no heart, right? Like, seriously, that's what it came down to. The dude had every opportunity to become Giannis Antetokounmpo, and he himself kept him from doing it.
I think the one thing that's interesting is the fact that he's saying it.
Because
also, Maxey,
years have been removed. Like,
big J on Maxey right there. Good journalism work right there. Going right at who's more difficult. He almost is setting up Embiid to fail on that one.
Yeah, and that's why Embiid was laughing at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean that's good work on his part. Good journalism.
But like Embiid, Embiid didn't say anything new. Like we literally all said
nothing new that we didn't know. But it's interesting to hear him say it.
It is interesting to him to say, but it's probably because it's been 3 years now.
Yeah,
like,
it's moved on.
It's moved on.
Yeah. Speaking of journalism, I'll take you to the news because one of those money shows talking about the sports betting boom and stocks and things that, I don't really know. I just want to put $5 on a parlay that's not going to hit.
Yes.
But now they're blaming parlays. They're blaming our sports betting for what?
You understand why you have this massive secular wave behind it. So the negative impact is that it's all young men. And I parallel that with, or dovetail that with Pew research, which says that 63% of young men are single. And that's the highest it's ever been. And 50% of those young men have no interest in dating, not even casually. And 30% of those men, or 30% of young men, say they have not had sex in over a year and don't seem to care. So the point being,
because they're getting pleasure out of sports betting instead.
I saw this weekend. All right, so the sex part. All right, come on, man. You could drop the parlay and have sex.
Is the modern Renaissance man the one that gambles, is in a relationship, and also has sex?
Yes, that's the modern male. But she's outrageous for the whole people aren't dating because they'd rather gamble. No,
No, they're just not dating because they're not dating.
Lady, you work on a money show. Can you tell me about inflation? Lady, you work on a money show. Let's be real, right? Equality is real in the United States of America. But I think it's still if you go on a first date, guy picks up the tab. I don't think I'm saying anything outrageous where I will offend the masses. Oh, I think it's just a thing, right? Where the guy picks up the first tab. Tabs are expensive nowadays.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody between rent and utilities and not getting paid much money and college expenses and, I don't know, name a million other things, can't afford to go out on a nice dinner anymore. So they're trying to afford it by hitting on a parlay. If the bet hits, you got some money to play with. Or you got some money to pay off all your other expenses.
Right.
It's ridiculous for her to say that.
Yeah.
The sex part's all right, come on, guys.
3 out of 10 guys, though.
Sex is great.
You take a look at 3 out of 10 guys. Now you have to start questioning every room you're in. Who's failing in this room?
All
right. Anyway, one more for you.
I lured you of this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just outrageous.
Yeah, I'll just play it for you.
Teammate he is. And this guy right here, line the heck up, all right? And I'm sorry, he should be onside.
Hey, guys. The fact that Rex said it's a toe.
It's a toe I don't like.
What'd you say?
I just said this is a toe I don't like.
He likes toes.
I like, I like toes. I don't like this toe. Hey, come on, line up on freaking side for crying out loud.
See, now there is no way for us to do a serious show if we're going to go there, Rex. This is not the moment for it.
I apologize.
Hey, all right.
Kadarius Toney, if you turn Rex against feet, you a bad man.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the Eagles losing to the Cowboys. Your power rankings of the worst thing. Number 3, being behind the Cowboys in the division. Number 2, being behind the Niners for the 1 seed. Number 1 was us not being able to react to Rex Ryan talking about his foot fetish. Because if you guys remember the video that came out years ago, him and his wife, he loves the foot. He loves the feet. He loves the toes. And that was in reaction to Kadarius Toney lining up off sides, which took away from one of the greatest plays in NFL history. And he's talking about loving feet and loving toes, but that's a toe he didn't like. Shame on you, Eagles. Shame on you. Great job, Ray. That's the Vault, presented by Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. All right, coming up next, we'll reset what we started the show off with. It's a You Call It Tuesday. Overreaction or Devil's Advocate? You're allowed to call in at 610-632-0975 and tell us which way you're leaning. I will run through all the overreactions we've gotten so far. It's like today's, I don't like doing hot takes. Today's a takey day. Go for it. There's only one Devil's Advocate so far, and it's the one that I jotted down because of something we talked about a little bit yesterday. The rest is all overreaction. I'll run through those next right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers dominate. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you.
11:22, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas, 11 o'clock hour, brought to us by Golden Nugget Jewelers, where Philly gets engaged. Coming up at 12 o'clock, it's the Holiday Wheel. The morning show, 2 for 2. They actually got the double prize because the caller for the best show ever did not call back yesterday. So far, the John Kincaid Show in first place with the game in hand. They're 2-0. We are 1-0 after yesterday's performance, and the best show ever, 0 for 1. Now, Todd DeFeo from our incredible promotions team just walked in here and said, just want to give you a heads up. The name may be misspelled. Not because of what they put on the email, but whenever the person logged in or set up their account on 975thefanatic.com, they may have misspelled the name. So I have the name. I obviously can't give it until 12 o'clock. I will give the way it is spelled, but I also give what we believe could also be the name. All right? So all I'm saying is at 12 o'clock, listen closely, because it could be you one way or another.
Does kind of feel like they're trying to put us behind the 8 ball. Does feel like we're kind of getting shortchanged in this one. Like they're trying to cause chaos for us.
You think John did it?
I mean, that would be my lead suspect.
Because he's chesty right now about their 2-0 start.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, 2-0, and now he's going to try. I mean, this is basically the schedule makers, what they did to the Eagles.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Now, speaking of which.
Yeah.
That could be a devil's advocate. So here's what we're doing today. On a You Call It Tuesday, as I steal a phrase from rock radio. It's a You Call It Tuesday, double shot Thursday. That kind of stuff. All right. So what I want to do today, you call in at 610-632-0975 and either overreact to the last 2 weeks of the Eagles, and I will not shoot you down for your overreaction, or you try to play devil's advocate. And I will not shoot you down for that either, because there was one yesterday that I thought was completely ludicrous. And I'll tell you which one that is. So the devil's advocates, we only have 2. There's a lot of overreactions. So far, the devil's advocates say the schedule makers screwed over the Eagles. The Eagles came out of the bye week playing the Chiefs, who also came out of a bye week. And we know how successful Andy Reid is in his career coming out of a bye. Well, the Eagles took care of business. And Jeff McLane at 11:30. Thank you, Ray. The Eagles took care of business against the Chiefs. But then they had to play the Bills on a short week. Bills fighting for a playoff spot. Eagles took care of business. But then they played the 49ers when the 49ers had 10 days rest. Then the Eagles played the Cowboys when the Cowboys had 10 days rest. So the schedule makers are screwing over the Eagles. The other devil's advocate was from yesterday, and this is one where I thought was completely ludicrous. The Eagles are not playing to their full potential because they're not playing to their full speed. They're not trying hard because they don't want to get hurt. Because the best ability is availability come playoff time. The other teams are mistakenly playing their hardest because they could potentially get hurt. And if they get hurt, their chances of winning something in the playoffs are diminished. So that was one of the other devil's advocates. I believe I said yesterday, I want what you're smoking. The overreactions that we have gotten today, there have been plenty. The first one that I gave myself, if I were to overreact, is that Hurts is regressing slightly. Not to the point where all of a sudden you need to look for another quarterback or start Marcus Mariota, like David Carr said. I'm just saying he doesn't look comfortable out there. Is that the scheme? Is that the game plan? Is that Jalen Hurts? Is that miscommunication between his wide receivers? Is there something off with the offensive line? Is it missing Isaac Seumalo? All that kind of stuff. Hurts just looks a little uncomfortable out there. Even though they're 10-3, eye test tells you not as good as last year. John Kincaid talked about missing Gannon today. We all wanted to ship Gannon out of town. Now all of a sudden we miss him. Okay? Ray, you gave that the team has hit a wall, and they may lose this Sunday to the Seahawks, but also may lose to the Arizona Cardinals. That's like the sky is officially fallen scenario. But it's an overreaction. And you're not alone. Edith said she doesn't think that they can win the next 3 games. Win 3 straight. So that means they're losing one of the next 3 games. It's either the Seahawks, which would mean the Eagles have lost 3 straight games, or it's the Giants, or it's the Cardinals. Then we had one caller that gave 3 right off the bat. That they should have lost to the Bills. That the Eagles are no longer a top 10 team in the NFL. And that A.J. Brown is a front runner. He's only good when things are going well. And when things are not going well, he's terrible and then also takes no accountability. The last 2 we have, the first one is the offensive line. The caller was nervous of the O-line. Lane Johnson's falling apart. Look at what Parsons did to him on Sunday, which Dan Baxter checks in. Parsons had 1 sack and 2 tackles on Sunday. And, oh, by the way, he kept Joey Bosa in check. But whatever. I'm not shooting anybody down. He also continued to say he could see Tommy DeVito carving up the Eagles' defense. That's an overreaction. But you do you. All right, we got McLane in a minute. Let's go to Rich and Brick. What's up, Rich?
Hey, what's up, guys? I just want to say happy holidays.
You as well, Rich.
I'm so disappointed in this loss. I thought our corners did a horrible job in covering. I don't understand. They were playing like 10 yards off the receiver.
That's the scheme, man.
And I mean, come on, at least get up there and, bump them or something. But I'm a little concerned because we got Seattle coming up. And they got Lockett, Metcalf. I mean, they're almost like going against CeeDee Lamb. I mean, look what Metcalf has done. I mean, honestly, I'm a little nervous with their next 4 games. I don't think it's an easy schedule. I think it's the way we've been playing. I think we might be in trouble.
Well, I mean, look, it's been a rough patch right now, Rich. I appreciate the call. It's been a rough patch, and they need to get back to it. Get back to their winning ways, and hopefully they do that this weekend, or, Monday night against the Seahawks, or, man, you think it's chaotic now. You just wait. All right, let's head to the Comcast Business Hotline. I enjoy our conversations every single week from the Inquirer, Inquirer.com. That, of course, the great Jeff McLane. Jeff, how are we today?
Morning, Andrew.
People are down the dumps again, Jeff. It's back-to-back weeks that we're having this conversation. Another very disappointing loss to the Cowboys. What was your biggest takeaway, both offensively and defensively, because it didn't look great both sides?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've seen this throughout the season, but it's been exposed a little more these last 2 weeks, is that, schematically the Eagles just aren't kind of at the level they should be based upon, to me, the talent they have on the roster. That isn't to say that they're not schematically sound or have a solid scheme. I just think that maybe at this point, the teams have spent all off season, right, gearing up for what the Eagles have done successfully last year, and were able to kind of take away things at various points this year. And I think the same applies to the defense, especially the pass rush. As we've seen, that has not been as effective as it was last year when they had 70 sacks. And, of course, there are some new faces at the coordinator positions, and I think, that factors into it as well. And I think that's what you saw play out on Sunday. Having watched, I've gotten through almost the entire film. This was a game with more mistakes than there was in the San Francisco game. The San Francisco game, they got beaten pretty good, and I would say the 49ers are a better team than Cowboys. This was going to be a tough win for them going into Dallas, where they had won 14 straight. Where the Eagles haven't won since 2018. They haven't won the season series since 2011. So it was always going to be a tough game. But you just can't go out there and have 3 fumbles in Cowboys territory and expect to come out of there with a win. So being -2 in turnover differential was a big factor in this game, obviously. And but I thought. From what I saw in the film, the effort was better this time around. They did try and mix things up on both sides of the ball. They did have some new wrinkles, but they also ran into a team that's playing very well right now, and that factors into it well. And if you're looking at the last 2 weeks, you say the same thing about the 49ers. These are teams that are comparable or even better than the Eagles. And right now, on top of the fact that it's later in the season and they're playing 2 teams that were both coming off 10 days of rest, it just wasn't a good recipe for the Eagles.
Now, speaking of turning the football over and fumbling in Dallas territory, what do you make of Hurts and the turnovers this year? So he's got 10 picks. He also has 5 lost fumbles. All of a sudden, stuff's piling up. 15 turnovers, which is near the top, if not at the top of the NFL. What do you make of Hurts and his turnover issues so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, that's not good. He's turning the ball over more, and that's, there's nothing you can take away from that that doesn't reflect poorly upon the quarterback. Now, look, again, there are other pieces that factor into the turnovers, and then that goes with, again, new coordinator and Brian Johnson calling plays. I think they had a period where they were just trying to get adjusted to each other. And again, I think some of it's the scheme that has not really adapted well to what defenses are doing to take away the +1 run game. That's something that has been a huge factor, I think, that maybe hasn't been talked about enough. And that's why, the running backs aren't getting as many free yards before contact like they did last year. So the run game hasn't been as effective. We saw that, I think, play out in the first half of the game against the Cowboys. And I think that conversely affects Jalen. And that's why you've seen uptick in the interceptions and with the fumbles. But, these aren't mistakes at this point. You're 13, 14 weeks into the season.
Right.
This is just characteristic to me of what the team is. And while, a lot of it falls on the quarterback, a lot of it falls on a lot of other people as well.
Now, you do a great job covering the Eagles for the Inquirer.com, but you also have a great podcast, Uncovering the Birds. And going back to schemes, you had an episode about Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni. Can you expand on that a little bit? Because your tweet that you put out a couple hours ago reads as follows: Brian Johnson has gotten heat for his play calling, but has too much been directed at the new Eagles offensive coordinator rather than head coach Nick Sirianni, who was responsible for the scheme and game plan. Can you kind of dive deeper into the whole Nick Sirianni versus Brian Johnson factor? It's Sirianni's game plan, but it's Brian Johnson's play calling. Is there a disconnect there of some sort?
Well, no, I think there's a disconnect in terms of how people are viewing what is wrong with the offense this year. And look, I'm not saying Brian Johnson has been a phenomenal play caller. There are times I scratch my head as well. But as Nick has explained this, and I've been around long enough to know this, this is Nick's offense. This, the designs are generally him. Obviously, everybody chips in. Everyone has kind of like a little bit that they bring to the table in terms of the scheme and adding little wrinkles here and there. And Brian Johnson added a lot in terms of the +1 running, the quarterback +1 game. But this is Nick's game plan. Nick has final calls on that. He's responsible for 90% of the offense. Right. Brian is just out there kind of dialing up the plays that have been handed to him by Nick Sirianni. Now, is there a science to calling plays and being very good at it? Yes, I believe so. And that's why certain guys, are great at it. So I'm not trying to take any of the blame away from Brian, or I hate even using the word blame, right. But criticism, I guess, could be the more appropriate word. It's that, but and Nick will be the first to say this. This is Nick's offense. This is what Nick wants. And the same really honestly goes for the defensive side of the ball too. This is the type of defense that Nick wants. And I'm not saying Nick isn't a good head coach. Nick is a very good head coach. The team is 10-3. They're how many games have they won over the last 2 years? And even if you factor in his first year, that was a winning team. So, I get people that are upset, and these last 2 games haven't been good, but we, have to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. And that, again, also applies as well to the offense. When we're looking at it, there's much more nuance to it. Just because, Brian, you look at it and say, okay, what's the new dynamic here, play versus last year? Oh, it's a new play caller. It's got to be on Brian Johnson. I don't think that's entirely accurate or fair. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that this is inevitable. This is what we saw after 2017. The defensive coordinators in this team are really smart. They're going to figure out ways to take away what you do best in the following offseason. And that's what we're seeing now. And the Eagles haven't done a good enough job to counter what those defenses have done to them.
Now, one of the things I heard a lot yesterday, obviously Monday's a very reactionary day. We don't have guests. We let the callers call in and voice their opinion. And I kept on hearing over and over again, they got to fix this. They got to fix that. Is there anything they can fix? Because it's this late in the season. The personnel is the personnel. Is there anything on either side of the ball where you think if they fix this, and whether or not they can fix it, that things will start getting back on track for the Eagles?
That's a good question. I don't think Nick and Sean Desai and all the coaches down there want to beat their heads against the wall and say, okay, let's just keep doing the same old thing.
Right.
Because the same old thing hasn't worked these last 2 weeks. Now, look, again, they're 10-3. They control their own destiny in the NFC East. Are the 49ers automatically going to win out? We don't know that. I'm not saying the same thing about the Eagles, but the schedule does get easier here. Let's be very firm about that. These are games that they're going to be all favored in, and a couple of the teams, 3 of the teams actually all of them have losing records. I don't know what they could fix. Number one thing they have to fix right now is their third down defense. It's bad. Mm-hmm. And, they're doing a good job of getting the third down. They just can't get off the field on third down. And that is conversely having an effect on the offense psychologically and certainly on the defense. And so how do they do about that? How do they do that? The pass rush has to be better. They have to marry the rush better with the coverages. I don't think there's really personnel changes that you can make at this point. You are what you are. I think on the offense, and I think you saw a little bit of this on Sunday with Jalen, they had him running a little more, and I think that created a little space. They were moving the ball pretty well in Dallas. It was the turnovers that were a big part of the problem. Don't get me wrong, that's all part of it. You have to eat that. But in terms of fixing something, I don't think there's one big thing across the board that you say, oh, okay, this is going to change everything. Look, they've won 10 games. They've done things well this year. Maybe get back to some of the bread and butter stuff that you've done well. Maybe that's just how you kind of look at it. But I don't think at this point you can make any drastic changes.
All right, last thing before I let you go, Jeff, and I appreciate your time as always. Yesterday, Derek Gunn on his show kind of reported that he spoke with a player who remained anonymous, that the offense has become too predictable. I'm not going to ask about that. My question for you is, Jeff, you've been covering the Eagles for a long time, and you've covered the good. You've also covered the times where there's been turmoil inside the locker room. Now, we know that winning heals everything, right? And now they've lost 2 straight games, which is something that we're not accustomed to in Philadelphia. But when does it become a problem when you start hearing reports like that floated out there, when usually, if you think about it, the Nick Sirianni locker room, they're pretty tight to the vest?
Yeah, and obviously it's my job to kind of be in tune with a lot of stuff, what's going on in the locker room, what's going on behind the scenes. And I mean, I'm sure players are frustrated. I got Josh Sweat alone in the locker room after the game, and he kind of he sounded off a little bit, but he was very much expressing his frustration with himself and with the pass rush, and not pointing fingers directly at anybody. But he said that there's kind of a dynamic in terms of everybody doing their job and doing it for the team that appears to be missing in the rush. And when you start hearing that kind of stuff, you start scratching your head and you're wondering, okay, what's going on here? Are guys being selfish? Are guys not wanting to play for Sean Desai on that side of the ball because the scheme isn't working? I think that's generally what happens when things aren't going well. I think there's enough leadership in that locker room to keep things tight. Obviously, it'll be my job to find out what they really think. They've done a lot of winning these last 2 years, and maybe this is tough for them to take. And I'm sure there's probably a few players that maybe are frustrated by how they're being portrayed individually. But I don't think it's to that point, anywhere close to that point. I mean, we're not near 2020 or 2015 or 2012. I mean, those were bad teams, and those were locker rooms they became bad locker rooms. I'm in there every day. I don't sense that. I think there's a potential that it could go that way, but this is going to be very important to the leaders in that locker room, and obviously with Nick Sirianni, that they come back this next week and put on a good performance. And I think it's certainly possible. They have the talent. They have the coaching acumen. I think it can get done this week.
Jeff, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Tremendous job as always with the Inquirer, Inquirer.com, and, of course, your podcast as well, Uncovering the Birds. Thanks as always for joining us.
All right, thanks for having me.
There he is, Jeff McLane on the Comcast Business hotline. I'm going to expand on that coming up next, okay? And Jeff says he doesn't really get the sense, but he also says it could be getting there. If you can, because I know Profiler will help in 2 minutes. Grab the beginning part of that answer when he talks about the Josh Sweat, and then all of a sudden there's guys that aren't playing for Sean Desai. We'll also replay that clip that we played yesterday of Fletcher Cox. And we'll expand a little bit more on the report from Derek Gunn yesterday. And, of course, the Holiday Wheel comes your way at 12 o'clock right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. Now, you know what makes me happy? You know what makes me happy? When the package is delivered. So, yesterday, the package was delivered. You ready to score a touchdown this holiday season? Do with that what you may. Well, anyways, in terms of the copy, you can score a touchdown with the best Christmas gift for your special someone. Trust me. Check out PajamaGram's famous, naturally nude pajamas. They're going to make you a holiday hero. Might help out yourself as well. They came in yesterday, right? All right? The naturally nude pajamas came in yesterday. They sell out every single year. Naturally nude pajamas. They're known for their ultimate comfort, style, soft, silky, better than lingerie with a curved, caressing fit. And let me tell you, they're sexy. Here's the kicker. When you order naturally nude pajamas today, you'll get a free naturally nude nightie. Also nice. That's a $75 savings on a very luxurious 2-in-1 complete gift. And better yet, with PajamaGram, you can even add gift packaging. The gift came early. All right? It's the gift that keeps on giving. So I wanted to get that gift out there early. But it's beautifully wrapped. Something I can't do. If you ask me, it's one easy holiday gift that is sure to make her happy. And fellas, trust me, it'll make you happy as well. Listen, we all know how good it feels to win, so why not win this Christmas in any way possible?
Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic.
11:52. 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. On a You Call It Tuesday, you can either overreact to the last 2 weeks or you can play devil's advocate, trying to find the glimmer of hope. We'll get back to the phones in a second. We have the holiday wheel coming up at 12 o'clock, right at noon. I will announce the name, and I will give 2 first names because we don't know if it was spelled incorrectly or not. Just to make sure, because I want to give everybody their best shot at winning. So we'll give the name coming up at 12 o'clock for your chance to spin the wheel. I see the D train out there. He's getting ready. He's loosening up. He's stretching. You know?
It's a good spin for him yesterday.
Put on icy hot. Yeah, there was disrespect this morning because people were saying Haley's the best spinner. I still go D train. I'm pro D train when it comes to the spin.
Well, I agree too.
Because he's a vet now. He's been here for a while. Now, come on. Everybody's looking for the new thing. Dylan's a vet. Show some respect. All right, so I want to go, before I go back to the phones, I want to react to what we just got into at the end there with Jeff McLane. So there was a report early in the show yesterday from Derek Gunn, who I love. He was texting back and forth with a member of the Eagles, and that member of the Eagles said that the offense has become too predictable. Started talking about, look at what we've been doing compared to what the Cowboys did to us. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday. It's never good when stuff starts coming out. Now, I also know winning is the best medicine. So once winning is happening, you don't hear that kind of stuff. And it's the first time in a while we've seen back-to-back losses for the Eagles. First time since, his first year as a starter where Hurts has lost back-to-back games. Because he himself didn't lose back-to-back games last year. Gardner Minshew did. But now all of a sudden, you're starting to get the whispers. And it's concerning to me because the Nick Sirianni locker room has never, I don't remember something like that where something came out in the media where it made you go, huh, really? And this is year 3 now. So that's kudos to Nick Sirianni and this Eagles brass for keeping everything in check. Not many stories have come out except for, Jonathan Gannon and the tampering. And that's why the draft picks happened. And that was probably a good play by Howie Roseman, right? So Derek Gunn said a player was speaking out of term, or not out of term. He asked him about it. He's just doing his job. Fletcher Cox, after the game on Sunday, was talking about accountability and leadership and finding out whether or not this team is built to respond or if this team will crumble. Take a listen to what Fletcher Cox had to say after the loss on Sunday.
Hard getting our way out, so it's one of them things, man. Tough, 2 in a row. I think the biggest thing for this team now is, really find out who the dudes are. And that's always the case. I've been part of teams where the dudes in the locker room do something about it, and I've been a part of teams where it kind of crumbles. But now it's time to see the real leadership, the real players. The guys that's elite on this team, myself included, step up and do something about it. Get this team, another win.
Now, how I reacted to that clip yesterday when we played it was, I thought the game against the Cowboys was the way to tell us how you're built in terms of responding. And the way you responded to a blowout loss to the 49ers was a blowout loss to the Cowboys. Well, Fletcher Cox says it's this week that we'll find out. Okay. I'll take his word. Look, he's the guy in the locker room. He's the vet. He's one of the leaders. I will take his word for it. Even though I have my opinion, but I'll take his word for it. So I asked Jeff McLane, just last segment, about the report that Derek Gunn put out there that a player told him the offense has become too predictable. And I asked Jeff, does this become a problem when all of a sudden you hear people leaking some stuff? And take a listen to what he had to say. And he also used an example with Josh Sweat from Sunday.
I mean, I'm sure players are frustrated. I got Josh Sweat alone in the locker room after the game, and he kind of he sounded off a little bit, but he was very much expressing his frustration with himself and with the pass rush, and not pointing fingers directly at anybody. But he said that there's kind of like a dynamic in terms of everybody doing their job and doing it for the team that appears to be missing in the rush. And, when you start hearing that kind of stuff, you start scratching your head and you're wondering, okay, what's going on here? Are guys, being selfish? Are guys not wanting to play for Sean Desai on that side of the ball because the scheme isn't working? I think that's generally what happens when things aren't going well. I think there's enough leadership in that locker room to keep things tight.
So Jeff McLane is a pro's pro. I don't think he just floats out there the whole, does that mean guys aren't playing for Sean Desai? Just to throw it out there. That's just my take on it. Like, he's not pulling that out of thin air, right? And I'm not saying people have given up on they're 10-3, right? Like, they haven't given up, but when there's people complaining about the offense being too predictable, maybe there's also people complaining, we just haven't heard it yet, about Sean Desai's scheme. Just like how after the Super Bowl, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson was very quick to go on social media and complain about Jonathan Gannon not putting them in the position to make plays. Maybe it just took one person to actually speak out. So in the spirit of You Call It Tuesday, playing devil's advocate or overreaction, one may say an overreaction could be that the locker room is in shambles, Ray.
That would be an overreaction, but
in the spirit of the show?
In the spirit of the show, why not?
All right. We got the holiday wheel in a minute. I want to get your thoughts on this, but let me get to Michael and Yardley first. Michael, you're on the Fanatic. You don't want to overreact. I like that.
Yeah, Tunis. What's up, man? It's Coach Mike. I haven't talked.
Yo, what's up, Coach Mike?
How are you, man?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm good. But I'm not going to overreact, but my reaction, I don't think you're going to like it. I think this team is doomed. And I've been saying that since week 4, week 5.
Okay.
When you have some I'm looking at football, and we do this. We look at football. Sometimes we look at it as fans. Sometimes we're looking at it from an objective point of view, from a football point of view. There's some things that I witnessed both coordinators doing, especially Brian Johnson, that are just nonsensical things that a real NFL pro coordinator just should not or would not do. The refusal to run the ball, especially when some teams, like, for instance, the Vikings, they came out in a 3-down lineman nickel front. They played that for most of the game, and we refused to run the ball at it. Silly things like 3rd down and 3 were up in the Cowboys game, late in the game, and we throw a 50-50 ball down the field when just the week before that, Sirianni was boasting, oh, yeah, when I see 1st and 10, I actually think it's
first and 9, yeah. The 3rd and 2 that bothered me the most was they ran the zone read, and I know that's part of the offense, but man, just freaking hand the ball off normally, or do the tush push where you say, well, if I don't get it on 3rd and 2, it's probably going to be 4th and 1. We'll get it the next play. Instead, they do the zone read. The defender goes right after Hurts. Hurts tucks it, and then he has to try to throw off his back foot, and it's incomplete.
Exactly. Just last night, I watched quarterbacks face all-out pressures and get the ball out on a quick slant.
And we're talking Tommy DeVito, Jordan Love. I know it's Tua, and then Will Levis.
Tunis, how about this? We run a bubble screen. Goodness gracious with these bubble screens. But we run a bubble screen.
Julio Jones.
We have trips out. You have Quez Watkins there, who's your speedy receiver. You have Julio Jones there, who's not really a speedy receiver anymore.
But a blocker.
A 6'3", 220 guy. Why is Julio getting the ball on that and Quez blocking?
Because you know what the mindset is? They expect us to give it to Quez, so we're going to give it to Julio instead.
Some nonsensical things where you look at it and it doesn't make any sense.
No, I mean, it's been, Coach Mike, it's been crazy. I appreciate the call, man. It's been crazy. And the last 2 weeks has really shown that. And Tim McManus said something interesting during our pregame show on Sunday where he pretty much said, hey, it's time to start questioning the coaching. Now, I think it was more players this past loss than coaching. I think we've been questioning coaching all season long, but I think he also meant maybe more higher up than the coordinators, also Nick Sirianni. All right, we'll get into more, but it's 12:02. Hit the music, Ray. All right, it is time now to spin the holiday wheel. Well, first, we got to get our man to call back. Now, here's the deal. You'll have 10 minutes to do this after I'm done the read, Ray. After I'm done the read. So 10 minutes for either, because we don't know if this is a misspell from when you registered on 97.5thefanatic.com. Either Jamia Del Pizzo or Pizzo, or
Pizzo?
James Del Pizzo or Pizzo. Because it is spelled Jamea. And the email is, J. I'm not going to give out the whole email, but it doesn't have the full name. It just has the letter J. So we don't know if it's James or Jamia of Ardmore, PA. My guess is James. If I were to totally guess, my guess is James. But I'm not 100% sure. So James or Jamia Del Pizzo.
Or Pizzo.
Or Pizzo.
2 Z's.
Or Pizzo. I don't know.
I don't know. We're just
pronunciations.
spitballing here.
Listen, I'm Sal Chunas. Nobody freaking gets my name right. So let me live.
I'm letting you live. I'm
How
just
about I
trying to
do
make
it
sure
this
we
way?
get the person.
Jamea or James. DelPizzo of Ardmore, PA. If you know James or Jamia, please give him a call. Or if you're listening right now, James or Jamia, would love for you to call in at 215-263-0975. The number 215-263-0975. We're doing this 3 times a day, 8 o'clock with the John Kincaid Show, noon right here with myself, Andrew Salchunas, and 4 o'clock with the best show ever. If James or Jamia Del Pizzo does not call back within 10 minutes, the prize will be carried over to the best show ever. If James or Jamia of Ardmore, PA does call in within the next 10 minutes, you'll automatically win a Fanatic prize pack, but you'll also spin the wheel right now. The prizes that will remain: a Physique Barbecue Fire Pit from Landis Block and Concrete, a Hand and Stone gift card, a case of Corona, a Flyers Santa sack, Flyers Blue Jackets tickets, $100 Gold Nugget Jewelers gift card, Sixers Pistons tickets, Green Day and the Smashing Pumpkins, that's awesome, and the $100 Embers Smokehouse and Tap gift card. So one more time, James or Jamia Del Pizzo, Pizzo, however you pronounce your last name, and if your name is James or Jamia. 215-263-0975, Ardmore, PA, 215-263-0975. All right, start the clock, right? I mean, like, I don't know. Because the A is right next to the S on the keyboard.
We were tampered with.
I think so as well. But I think I made it clear.
I think you did. I think you certainly did.
So if you know James or Jamia, Del Pizzo or Pizzo, Pizzo, I don't know. You look at me like I could be crazy for mispronouncing a last name.
No, I wasn't
live
looking
in
at you like
freaking
you were,
Philadelphia, man.
I wasn't looking at you like you were crazy. I was just trying to make sure that we got every single pronunciation out there.
Yes, you're right.
We're up against 2 for 2 from the morning show, and they're getting all chesty about it. They're trying to mess with our selections by messing up the spelling. So
now, yesterday, Rich had a friend call in, and his friend was Tim. I still remember. Tim called Rich to tell him that he had won. Now, if the friend tells you that you won, and you win a pair of tickets to something, you automatically have to bring that person, right?
Right.
Because I asked him, I was like, well, if you win one of these things, are you going to bring him? And he was like, yeah, he might get invited. No, I think that's your first one. Unless you have a spouse that, like yesterday, we gave away the Chris Stapleton tickets, right? Unless your spouse is the number one Chris Stapleton fan in the world. And then you go, hey, Tim, I appreciate you, man, but you got to understand. And then maybe Tim's cool with it, right? But if Tim likes Chris Stapleton, and he's the reason why he even spun the wheel in the first place, you got to bring Tim, right?
yeah, easily. There's no way you don't bring that person. Honestly, I know this might be overstepping on this. Even if the significant other's a big fan, Tim got you there. If the significant other was listening to us and had alerted you that there were tickets, then they could go. But listen, if we're talking about playing your role and doing right by the people who do right by you, I think you got to take Tim regardless. I think Tim is number 1 pick, and there is no number 2 pick.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. All right, so how much time's left for James or Jamia?
About 7.5 minutes.
About 7.5 minutes. 215-263-0975. Let's go back to the phones. But before that, actually, I want to talk to you about this. Now, all of a sudden, the locker room leaks are coming out. So I didn't, yesterday's a day where we spoke to a lot of callers. What were your thoughts on Derek Gunn reporting that there's, that he was speaking with an Eagles player? How do you feel that after 2 losses, all of a sudden, the leaks start coming out?
When you lose like that, just about everything's going to come with it, and I think that's just one of the things that comes with it. Like, this is a, kick in the pants, like, hey, figure it out. As much as you don't want stuff to get out, stuff gets out for a direct reason. And
now, here's the deal, though. Nothing has really gotten out with this team.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
Sirianni.
Like, this almost seems like hey, blinking light over here. Hey, listen, it does sound a little bit like someone that probably is unhappy with whatever their role is within this offense. Like, I struggle to believe this is just team serving, when whoever it is trying to put something out there. But I would imagine it's hey, this isn't changing. This isn't working. We're going to try and force the hand of someone to make this change, because I feel that we are put in a disadvantageous position by the fact that this is not changing.
Now, I meant what I said yesterday, and I want to get your thoughts on it. I hope Sirianni doesn't try to find who this person is and make an example of them or whatever. Obviously, not going to cut anybody. But, I want this to be all right, whoever said it, you're right. Let's fix it. And that's it. That's the team meeting. You do the whole, I would appreciate it if you didn't go come to me directly, please. I don't want to hear it from third parties. I'd rather you just come to me directly, and then we could talk. But whoever said it, all right, you're right. Now let's fix it. I kind of want it that way, because I don't want all of a sudden, next year, all of a sudden there's bad blood this late in the season. When you're 10-3, they're going to be in the playoffs, and they're still going to be, I imagine, somewhat of a force come playoff time. Super Bowl hopes aren't dead. All right, they're not. Even though it sucks right now, they're not dead. So I hope Sirianni just kind of works this one out within the locker room. Now, what did you make of Jeff McLane talking about now Josh Sweat saying, maybe guys aren't playing to their fullest because they don't necessarily believe in Sean Desai?
That was interesting. That one perked my ears.
That's why I told you to grab it right away. I was like, oh, okay.
Immediate thought from that, kind of similar to what you said Jeff's not saying something to say something here. He talked to Josh Sweat. It seemed like Sweat was upset. And when things aren't working, you start turning around. And I don't know whether it would be guys that came in here expecting something different or guys that were on this team from last season and think that you could operate at a better level right now. That's not a ringing endorsement of your defensive coordinator. And that one has me a little more concerned than the...
Now, here's the deal. I don't see anyone... So if you're Josh Sweat, I imagine you're talking about somebody else on the line of scrimmage, right?
Probably.
Hassan Reddick's your leading... He leads the team in sacks. Brandon Graham, whenever he does get out there, is busting his ass. And do you expect Brandon Graham to not try? No. That dude's a forever Eagle. He's next to Jordan Davis, who's playing a lot, giving it his all. Fletcher Cox seems to be giving it his all. Jalen Carter, we know. I don't know who he would be talking about.
Is he frustrated with maybe someone freewheeling? Someone thinking they know more? Someone thinking they know better? Not staying within their assignment?
Maybe.
That's far down the rabbit hole here. And, I would have to know.
I wonder, who? Nicholas Moreau? You know what I mean? You're Nicholas Moreau. You can't be doing that kind of stuff.
He's sounding off on frustration after a loss. So he's in an emotional spot. They've lost back-to-back games in disgusting fashion. He has not produced over the last 6 weeks. And he's sitting there with, and Jeff said it, Sweat's frustrated with himself, but on top of being frustrated with himself, as it's a human nature. You can get mad at yourself for not doing your job to its totality, but you also look around where's my help? Where's the thing that where's what I need to succeed? Am I getting the resources I need? He might feel like the players around him aren't helping him out enough. Is it fair? I don't think so, because right now he's not playing up to what you'd expect, but he also might be frustrated with rotations, the fact that there really is none, the fact that he feels a lot's being put on his plate, and honestly, he's having a very human reaction to going through a very poor stretch of like, hey, you know what? I'm upset with myself, but I'm emotional in this moment. I have the platform. Let me say something that's a little bit, maybe not to fire everyone up, but a little bit of, hey, take the heat off myself.
Right. All right, so here's what I want to do. At 610-632-0975, we continue the You Call It Tuesday, either overreaction or devil's advocate. But I want to hear from you. Does it start to concern you when all of a sudden you start hearing an anonymous player saying that the offense is too predictable, even though we agree? Like, I don't think anybody disagrees with this anonymous player. But you don't necessarily hear whispers coming out of NovaCare with this regime. Are you starting to get worried a little bit about the locker room after 2 straight bad losses? We'd love to hear from you on that. 610-632-0975. And James or Jamia Del Pizzo, Pizzo, P-I-Z-Z-O of Ardmore, PA. You have how much time, Ray? It'll happen during the break.
1 minute and 40 seconds.
You have 1 minute and 40 seconds. Somebody please get to James. I believe it's James, but Jamia is the name that's in here. Jamea. But our guess is it's James because the S is right next to the A on the keyboard. And when you signed up on 975thefanatic.com, you may have not checked your name when you hit submit. Ardmore, PA, James or Jamia Del Pizzo. You have a minute and a half left. And if you don't call in at 215-263-0975, the prize will carry over to the best show ever. And we'll spin the wheel to start the next segment. Right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
76ers dominate. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Dell Technologies. Alienware's holiday event starts now for a limited time. Go beyond performance on select gaming laptops featuring Intel Core processors. Shop now at alienware.com/deals. Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid both enjoyed their fourth quarter watching as the Sixers cruised past the Wizards 146 to 101. Sixers jumped out to a 19-2 lead early in the first quarter and just never looked back. Joel Embiid finished with 34 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. Tyrese Maxey had 24 points. Every Sixer scored the game, and they made 20 threes as the team improved to 15-7. The Eagles still searching for answers coming off of back-to-back blowout losses to the 49ers and the Cowboys. They're turning the page now to Seattle next Monday. Eagles
1222, 97.5, The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. And James or Jamia of Ardmore, PA, did not call in. So Dylan McKinnon, if you can, please come on in. We got to spin the wheel. And the prize will carry over to the best show ever. We got our power rankings coming up at 12:30. And we'll get to the phones in a second. Spin it nice and quick. Not long. My heart can't bear to wait. See what the best show ever is going to be getting. You know, this is why I'm not in the holiday spirit this year, right? This is the exact reason why. All right, slowing down. I know how great of a spinner you are, Dylan, but you know, I wanted this one quick. Round and around it goes. All right, it is landing on Sixers tickets. All right, hold on. Where are we at? Here we go. Well, James, you didn't win because you didn't call in. Now you're dead to me. You would have automatically won a prize pack. You're not getting that. No T-shirt or stickers for you. You also would have won a pair of tickets to the Sixers and Pistons Friday, December 15th at the Wells Fargo Center. I would have said, you know what, I'll go with you. Nope, not anymore. To purchase tickets for any 76ers game, visit Ticketmaster.com/76ers. The Sixers Pistons tickets will carry over to the best show ever. And that's that. All right. You call it Tuesday, either overreact or play devil's advocate. But the latest question I asked, does it start to concern you a little bit when the locker room is starting to chirp, which you haven't heard in a long time with the Philadelphia Eagles? We got the power rankings in 5 minutes. Let's go to Uncle Frank. What's up, Uncle Frank?
Happy Trepidation Tuesday, team.
Yes, it continues into Tuesday.
Got algebra. Oh, by the way, Andrew, very clever regarding the Embiid haters with that Christmas Carol. I just love sharp wit, and that was good.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's just because do you hear what I hear is nothing.
Yeah, no, I'm down like 4 flat tires with you. So, you know, although I thought the Cowboys would win, that game it put me in a deep funk Sunday and the Monday. I don't know. I felt like Mitch for Phoenix yesterday. Oh, and my man, who was it? Gary from Trenton, I believe.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
He wants to bring back
the power eye.
He wants to. Yeah. Why don't we incorporate the wing tee and the wishbone attack?
What made me laugh the most was you listen to me when I'm talking to you. I was like, all right, Dad.
Yeah, well, check this out.
God.
He said he's the pulse.
He's the pulse. You know, he talked to me like my dad when I would talk back. Jeez.
Right. I'm not so sure he even has a pulse. Anyway, that game, it was a bloodletting. They inflicted their will on our squad. I believe, though, that game was an anomaly. You know, it's hard to win a game when you lose 3 fumbles, you drop touchdown passes, and I might add, they've been playing quality teams with more rest, which is paramount, you know, this time of year, right?
All right, so if I were to ask, because we're doing the overreaction or devil's advocate, you call it Tuesday here on the Fanatic.
Yeah.
You're going devil's advocate, it seems.
Yep.
You'll go schedule. But I'm going to guess, based on what you said, the whole, 3 fumbles, dropping touchdown passes.
Yep.
You think that won't happen again?
No, I think they button it up. They got enough leaders in the locker room. And listen, you know, it's always darkest before the dawn, so they got nowhere to go but up.
Jalen Hurts.
You know?
Pretty much. You sound like you sound like number 1. Thanks for the call, Uncle Frank. He's closing off the year strong. He's had a good year. So we finally have our third devil's advocate. The last 2 weeks have been terrible. So far, the devil's advocate's schedule screwing over the Eagles. Not playing top speed to stay healthy. That's what we got yesterday. And he believes they'll button up their play because of the talent, which, look, do I expect A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith to drop touchdown passes again in the same game? You made that point yesterday. It's not that one of them dropped. Both of them in the same game dropped touchdown passes. No, I don't expect that to happen again.
Or fumble.
Or fumble 3 times.
And it'd be those 3.
Yeah.
Now, you could sell me, you threw the ball to Quez. Quez lost it.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the running backs put the ball on the ground. and then one of those big guys did it. You tell me that it was both the big-time receivers and Jalen Hurts as the three to do it. Well,
Yeah.
But
I got you.
I'm not here for devil's advocate today.
No.
I'm simply overreacting.
Overreaction. We have a long list I'll get to later on this segment. Let's go back to the phones. VT Ron. What's up, Ronnie?
Hey, Drew, my man. What's going on, boys? Everything good up there?
Sure. Everything good with you?
Yeah, everything's good here, except I'm in a funk from losing 2 games, getting smacked in the face.
Two big games, 2 test games, 2 games that you circled on the calendar.
Yeah, you better believe it. And then what do? I get a right hook to the eye.
Yeah.
So, hey, I got an overreaction. I got 2, as a matter of fact. I want to ask you a question before you let me go.
Okay.
My one overreaction is Tommy DeVito catches lightning in a bottle, and he comes into Philadelphia after a tough loss in Seattle and beats it.
Okay.
Okay, that's one.
That's the second DeVito mentioned, by the way. DeVito is taking the world by storm, especially here in Philly.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the guy with the black jacket and the black shirt. And
his agent.
His agent, you know what? He's giving us Italians a bad name. I got to tell you right now.
All right, so I got to ask you, is it like, are you tired of the, because look, I'm Lithuanian, so I can't speak to this. Are you getting tired of the amount of Italian stereotype stuff stereotypical stuff that's coming out?
I just said. What did I just say?
But my question for you, but Tommy DeVito is the quarterback, but he's doing the the signal, the hand signal.
I'm okay with that. But
okay.
I'll tell you what, it was almost like, last night when I'm watching the game, they're panning to DeVito's father and his agent as much as all game. I felt like, why do you keep showing this guy?
All right, who would you rather see more of? Hold on. Would you rather the camera pan to the DeVito family or Taylor Swift and Arrowhead?
Well, Taylor Swift's a lot better looking than the agent, so I'd rather go there, to be honest with you. So, that's one. And then my other fear, and this is legit, and I think you were leading to it a little bit, and I want to ask you a question after I say this, is I'm fearful. My biggest overreaction is he's starting to lose the locker room, and I think it starts on the defensive side. And that's a big fear for me too. I don't like what you're saying about things starting to come out.
Yeah.
And in all of that on the defensive side, what does Patricia have to do with all this?
Oh man, I forgot he was even around here because obviously there was the Darius Slay beef with Patricia, but
yeah, is there any connection here?
I would hope not. He's not calling plays.
No, but is there a connection? He was a head coach. He was a defensive coach, a pretty good defensive coach. And he's sitting back there on a chair in his office looking and seeing what's going on.
You know what? You know what's interesting? And thanks for the call, Ronnie. I appreciate it. It reminds me of the Schwartz and Peterson thing. Remember year one, if it doesn't work out with Peterson, they hired their backup already. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Jim Schwartz was hired to be the head coach of the defense. And if it didn't work out with Doug, they would have just promoted Jim Schwartz. I don't think Patricia is here to eventually take over Sean Desai. I forgot he was even here, if I'm being completely honest. I haven't thought of Matt Patricia's name until it came out that he was going to be hired by the Eagles, and then there was the Darius Slay factor. That was training camp. I haven't thought about it since.
I only thought about it because I made a joke a week ago that it's been a rough year for Slay. First he had to have Patricia come back, and now the way he's played. My friends were kind of having this Slay conversation.
I didn't even know. I totally forgot.
Yeah, that's the only reason I remember Matt Patricia.
But it could be a conspiracy. Could be.
Conspiracy Theory Wednesday?
Yeah.
Go from
that's what we'll do that tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, it's become more of an overreaction Tuesday than a you call it Tuesday.
Yeah.
Many more overreactions than people playing devil's advocate. Which I'll run through all the overreactions that we have gotten today because I have written all of them down. But first, it's 12:30 on a Tuesday, Ray, which time's now for the NFL.com Power Rankings. Brought to us by who?
Oh, it's the best time of the week. It really is. It's the Power Rankings segment brought to you by Harris Philadelphia. It's the $500,000 football pick'em at Harris Philadelphia. Select your team between 10 a.m. Wednesday through 8 p.m. Thursday at the promotional kiosk and start winning.
We'll admit, much more happier doing these after the Eagles win.
I'm always happy to look at the Power Rankings.
Well, of course you are. So brought to us by your friends at Harris Philadelphia.
That's right. $500,000 football pick'em.
Last 2 weeks, disappointing. But something interesting that Dylan McKinnon told me before I even looked at the power rankings. And I'll tell you coming up. Carolina Panthers, dead last. Patriots, 31st. Commanders dropped to 30. There's your bottom three. Arizona Cardinals, they climb up. Look out. Look out. The red hot Cardinals, who the Eagles will take on in 3 weeks. Coming at 29. All the love for Tommy DeVito. They remain at 28. Jets remain at 27. Titans remain at 26. I got to give the dude a lot of credit. He just kept on. Will Levis just kept on playing, man. I gotta give him credit. He just kept on playing. Oh wow! Hold on a second. Scratch all this. That was last week's.
Oh,
they just posted it.
All right. Well, we'll let you know once again.
Panthers at 32. Commanders dropped to 31. Patriots climb up to 30. Cardinals at 29. Raiders drop 4 spots to 28. Tommy DeVito, the love, they climb up a spot to 27.
Almost top 25.
Wow, that's right. Almost top 25. Finally, somebody at the NFL.com came to their senses. The Chargers have dropped to 26th. 5 spots to 26. Justin Herbert, by the way, just came out, done for the year. He's getting season-ending surgery. That should not save Brandon Staley's job. He should still be fired after the season ends. The New York Jets climb up 2 spots to 25 after their big win over the Texans. Couldn't believe it. The Titans, going back to Will Levis. That guy kept fighting yesterday. I watched a lot of that game, believe it or not. And the dude's just getting hit constantly. Ain't about how hard you hit. No, he just kept going. So they're at 24. Bears climb up 2 spots after that big win against the Lions for us, even though the Eagles lost. And I guess it's still big because instead of a 4-way tie, it's just a 3-way tie for the top seed right now in the NFC. Saints stay at 22 after their win. The Falcons dropped 2 spots after their loss to Tampa. They're at 21, and the Rams coming at number 20. Almost beat the Ravens. It goes to overtime. The Ravens end up winning that game, but the Rams still fighting for a playoff spot. I'll give you the playoff picture after we do this. The Seahawks come in at number 19. They dropped 4 spots after their loss to the 49ers. Hopefully they don't take that as disrespect for Sunday's game. Hopefully the Eagles can knock them into the 20s on Monday. Bucks climb up 5 spots, which is just outrageous. To 18, like they're not close to a top 15 football team. Just because they're division leaders, there should be a rule. Just because you are the leader of the division does not make you a top 20 football team.
Yeah, that's fair.
Seahawks are still better than the Buccaneers.
Yes, easily.
I'd say the Rams are better than the Buccaneers.
Now we're getting controversial.
But that would put them at 20.
But yeah, that's about right.
All right. Vikings coming in number 17 after their just incredible 3-0 game with the Raiders. Wild. Your Packers dropped 2 spots after their loss to Tommy DeVito.
Hey, Love left with the lead. What that defense did is not on Jordan Love, all right? Bad call also for the 2-point conversion. I'll spin the narrative here, all right? Not a great game for Love, not a great game for the narrative, but, can't all be won by him.
Well, don't worry. I go from Jordan Love to Gardner Minshew. Minshew Mania took a bit of a hit, losing to the backup quarterback in Cincinnati.
It's a massive hit.
They're now 7-6.
That was a 20-point loss. Let's not sugarcoat this.
They come in at number 15. The Steelers drop 3 spots to 14. The Bengals climb up 5 to 13. The Cincinnati Bengals led by that Jake Browning. The Houston Texans drop 3 spots as they should. Tank Dell done for the season. Nico Collins now hurt. Looks like he's going to be out. They're getting banged up, which sucks for them. The Broncos move up 5 spots. Broncos country, let's ride. Russell Wilson. Maybe I was right all along. Just kidding. But the Denver Broncos climb up 5 spots. They're 11, believe it or not. And now we've reached the top 10. The Buffalo Bills back in the top 10, climb up 2 spots after their win over the Chiefs. By the way, one of the things we didn't play in the recap vault was the Patrick Mahomes press conference, complaining about refs. Hello, Pot. Like, yo, dude, every freaking week you complain about a ref and you get the call. The dude was offsides And now there's this stupid, it's your ML football, your Ari Myrov, all these freaking
not mine
fake people. Oh, look, Kadarius Toney did check in with the ref. If you watch the video, Kadarius Toney walks up to the line of scrimmage, turns and points, and goes back. He didn't check. He looked over, but there was no signal by the ref saying you're good. He was offsides. What are we freaking complaining about? He was offsides.
Yeah, he was offsides. And
the play was awesome. He was offsides.
To be clear, I was all for the hype play rule in this regards, where we throw out the playbook and just go with the hypeness and let the play count until they start complaining. The fact that Patrick Mahomes went to the opposing quarterback complaining about the call and then does it in the postgame presser, to me, that you deserve the loss. Like that mentality, it's a loser mentality. Sorry.
Absolutely. Things aren't going your way once, Patty. Come on, bro. Jacksonville drops a spot after their loss, but they're lucky. They are very, very lucky that the Colts and the Texans both lost as well. They're still on top of that division in the AFC. So they're number 9, number 8, the Cleveland Browns. They climb up 2 spots after Joe Flacco goes off. The Lions coming at number 7. By the way, we had the caller earlier that said the Eagles aren't even a top 10 team anymore. Well, Browns are now up to 8.
Who's 10?
But Bills.
Bills.
For the Eagles beat. The Lions coming at number 7 after their loss. They remain the same. Chiefs remain at 6. The Dolphins remain at 5. So that means the Philadelphia Eagles are in your top 5.
Still encouraging.
But I'll tell you, they dropped a spot to 4.
Ooh.
Dallas climbs up a spot to 3. Baltimore remains the same at 2. San Fran remains at 1. The blurb for the Eagles from NFL.com. Save for the end of game kneel down by San Francisco in Week 13. Philadelphia's defense allowed points on 10 consecutive drives, 9 touchdowns and 1 field goal for a stretch over the past 2 games. The Eagles gave themselves life in the third quarter against the Cowboys on Sunday night, forcing a Dak Prescott fumble and returning for a touchdown. But Dallas had 3 takeaways of its own, stripping the Eagles' 3 best offensive playmakers, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. In the first meeting with the Cowboys, the Eagles fumbled 3 times, but recovered all 3, allowing Philly to escape. They used the word with a 20-23 win. Pummeled in the past 2 weeks, though, the Eagles are suddenly in danger of letting the division and the number 1 seed go to someone else. A year ago, the Eagles were playing their best ball with the playoffs looming. Now, they're just trying to weather the team's gauntlet of a schedule and get to the tournament. As things stand at the moment, they'd have to go to some southern city for the first round of the playoffs. Now, this is why I do the NFL.com. I think it's the least biased out of all of them. Dylan told me that he does like a write-up of where all the different networks, like ESPN, NFL.com, where they have the Eagles. He said all the other ones still have the Eagles above the Cowboys. And all the spins, like the little blurbs, are all positive. Like, don't worry. It was hard for the Eagles these last 2 weeks.
I'm just a little confused with the blurb saying they were playing their best ball going into the postseason last year. Because if I recall, we were talking about a quarterback that was banged up. They had lost back-to-back games. We thought they were guaranteed to knock off the Saints and lock things up, and we had a quarterback that had to come back and play, and the question was whether or not he was going to be healthy enough.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, they played so bad against the Saints that we were sitting here with, what's the deal with this team right now? I don't remember them playing. I don't remember it being best ball, all good vibes going into the postseason last year. I think that's a little bit of a rewriting of history. Yeah. I think there was a little more anxiety around this town than just, they're crushing everyone. It was great. I don't recall that being the storyline. They beat the Bears by, 5 points? Hurts hurt his shoulder. Then it was the conversation of who's going to play for the Cowboys and should he come back for the Saints. Maybe I was too tapped in. Maybe it was their best ball and I just didn't know.
No, I don't think so. I think you're right.
So, yeah. I don't know if, comparing both sides there on that one. It's not last year, but that's not where I'm drawing the line of the difference of last year.
Now, here's the deal. So the Eagles drop off a spot. They fall to 4. And that's our NFL.com Power Rankings brought to us by who, Ray?
It's brought to you by Harris Philadelphia. It's the $500,000 football pick'em at Harris Philadelphia. Select your team between 10 a.m. Wednesday through 8 p.m. Thursday at the promotional kiosk and start winning.
So coming up next, I'll give you the playoff picture because obviously the Eagles are not division leaders right now. They are actually a wild card team. So I'll give you the playoff picture, both AFC and NFC, coming up next. But I read something interesting this morning before the show, and I wanted to save it for after the Power Rankings. This is a production, this show, right? So Bill Barnwell of ESPN.com, he does all the ESPN Plus story. Like, he's so good, apparently, that like you can't read any of his work for free. It's all ESPN Plus. But don't worry, I'm your guy when it comes to that. It's that Disney Plus package.
Nice.
And Coop's got to watch, Cars. You know what I mean? So I gotta have the bundle, which provides me with ESPN Plus. So Bill Barnwell wrote a big story about the 4 biggest losses this past weekend, and one of them was the Eagles. And he talked about what the hell's going on with the Eagles and their downfall right now. It's not a pretty story, but it kind of explains what the hell's going on with the Eagles. I'll give you some notes from that coming up next. And also, an update on all our Devil's Advocate, all 3 of them, and the majority of overreactions we have today on this You Call Tuesday right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers win big. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by PJ Willihan's Half Price Wing Night. Tonight and every Tuesday is Half Price Wing Night at PJ's for PJ's Pub Club members. Free to join at pjspub.com. Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey enjoyed watching that fourth quarter as the Sixers steamrolled the Wizards 146-101 last night. 76ers jumped out to a 19-2 lead in the early going of that first quarter and just never looked back. Joel Embiid finished with 34 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. Tyrese Maxey had 24 points. Every Sixer scored in the game, and they made 23s as a team. They are now 15-7. On the season. Eagles still searching for answers coming off the back-to-back blowout losses to the Cowboys and 49ers. Eagles now turn the page to Seattle next Monday. The Birds find themselves as a wild card team right now. Tiebreakers favoring the 49ers in the NFC, and for now, the Cowboys in the NFC East. Nick Sirianni will speak to the media this afternoon at 3:15. Jeff McLane joined the show earlier to talk all things Birds with Andrew. You catch that conversation one more time at 97.5thefanatic.com. Flyers return to action tonight looking for their 5th straight win. They're playing the Predators. Puck drops at 8. You catch the live call right here on 97.5 The Fanatic. This update's also brought to you by Pearls, California-grown black ripe olives. Pearls. Black ripe olives have nothing added but sea salt water, no artificial colors or preservatives. For quality you can trust, look for the Sunny Yellow can at your local grocery store. Keep it locked here for the latest news and information. I'm Ray Dunn here on 97.5 The Fanatic.
John Kincaid, Bob Cooney, Pat Egan. Listen for the big storylines in Philly sports that matter to you. The John Kincaid Show. Weekday morning 6 to 10. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com. Happy holidays from the Fanatic family to yours.
Hey, this is Dave Barlow from Barlow Buick GMC in Woodbury, New Jersey, and I would like to wish you and your family a safe and happy holiday season.
Season's greetings, and thanks for listening to 97.5 The Fanatic, Philadelphia.
Hey, tonight and every Tuesday, it's half-price wing night at PJ's, but it's only for PJ's Pub Club members. It's free to join at pjspub.com. Have you noticed how cold it's been getting out there? It may seem like a time you don't want to replace the windows in your home, but Window Nation is saying it's the perfect time because they're offering you 50% off all window styles. So you get a house of 20 windows, you're only really paying for 10. Plus, you can get 0% interest for 5 full years, 60 months. Nobody's doing that. And you're getting new energy-efficient windows from my friends at Window Nation. They're nuts with this deal. You'll start saving money instantly on your heating and cooling bills, and you're going to get rid of the annoying cold drafts that let the heat out, and then next summer, you're going to feel cool as a cucumber. Save money all year long. Window Nation's professional installation will take care of you and make sure they've got the perfect fit. So let me tell you again, 0% financing for 60 months, plus 50% off all window styles, so you're really paying for half for the entire job. Simply call 866-90Nation, but I want you to do your window shopping online first at windownation.com to get started. Window Nation is coming with the best deal in the coldest months. Get involved. Tell them John Kincaid sent you.
Just as a new Call of Duty era is about to begin, another one ends. Call of Duty's Warzone fully releases in Modern Warfare 3 on December 6th. While millions of players will be teaming up, the winningest trio of all time will not be one of them. This week, esports pros Tommy, Almond, and Noobs, a team who has won $1.3 million in Warzone, announced their departure. With the trio now broken up, who will rise to the challenge?
The latest esports and gaming news. Find it online at checkpointxp.com.
A psoriasis flare-up can make a walk in the park, well,
no walk in the park.
It's that obvious, huh? I've tried so many lotions and creams, but I still have symptoms.
So those don't do enough to treat the inflammation beneath the skin, leaving you with those uncontrolled symptoms.
Makes sense, but what else can I do?
You can get real with your dermatologist so they can help you get clear. Make an appointment and, you're already on it.
Hi, yes, I'd like to make an appointment.
Get real clear about psoriasis at letsgetrealclear.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Denise has been playing jazz for 40 years. Last concert, one of the musicians fell sick with RSV. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a highly contagious virus that can lead to breathing problems. This time, she's choosing to help protect herself with Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo. Abrysvo is a vaccine for the prevention of lower respiratory tract disease caused by respiratory syncytial virus, RSV, in adults 60 years of age and older. Abrysvo is not for everyone and may not protect all who receive the vaccine. Don't get Abrysvo if you've had a severe allergic reaction to its ingredients. People with a weakened immune system may have a decreased response to Abrysvo. The most common side effects are tiredness, headache, pain at the injection site, and muscle pain. Ask your pharmacist or doctor about Pfizer's RSV vaccine, Abrysvo, respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. For full prescribing information, please call 1-844-989-7284 or visit abrysvo.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Oh, this cold.
Honey?
Honey?
Honey, you need DayQuil Severe Honey.
DayQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a honeylicious taste, because life doesn't stop for a cold.
Okay, I'm ready to go.
Now I'm getting a cold.
Honey. Try DayQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu relief. DayQuil Severe with honey flavor. The daytime coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever, honeylicious, power through your day medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Wendy's Peppermint Frosty and Frosty Cream Cold Brew make the perfect gift for anyone in your life. Especially for you. Yeah, this year you're sitting on your own lap and getting yourself what you want. Finally. And if you need a little more pep in your step, get yourself a refreshing Peppermint Frosty Cream Cold Brew. Or you can give it to your mom. Whatever.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Vanilla Frosty is temporarily unavailable.
Ricky Bowe here for Alpha Men's Center. Guys will spend hours on their fantasy team, but not a single minute on something with real life.
Arlington, Philadelphia, a Beasley Media Group station. Official home of the Sixers, Flyers, Union, and the best Eagles talk in Philadelphia. 97.5, The Fanatic.
12:52, 97.5 The Fanatic. I'm Andrew Salchunas. It's the midday show right here, 97.5 The Fanatic. 12 o'clock hour brought to us by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning. Get 0% financing for 72 months and a $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at ServiceFirstHVAC.com on a You Call Tuesday. You call in at 610-632-0975, reacting to the last two awful losses for the Eagles, and you either overreact or you play devil's advocate. So I asked Tyrone during the break, right? I went out there, saw Ricky and Jen, and I asked Tyrone to give me one of each. Now, if you're calling in, I want you to take one side or the other, because part of the exercise is also find out where we're at. And as you can see, we have 4 devil's advocates, and that includes Tyrone's and one that I just gave, because I gave one on either side.
And one from yesterday.
And one from yesterday. That's right. We have one today, and it was Uncle Frank, which if there's anybody I could trust, it's Uncle Frank. But Uncle Frank believes the offense will get better because they're just going to button things up because Devontae Smith's not going to drop touchdown passes and fumble. A.J. Brown's not going to drop touchdown passes and fumble. Jalen Hurts might not fumble. He's fumbled 5 times. Well, lost 5 fumbles this year. Overreactions, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. And I could say 13 because one of them was kind of a duo, but we'll go with 12. So a lot more overreactions than people playing devil's advocate. So before I get to this Bill Barnwell story, which will not make you feel any better.
That's good.
Tyrone gave one of each. You want the overreaction first or the devil's advocates? You call Tuesday, so I'll let you call.
Oh, I get to call it. I'll go devil's advocate first.
All right. He believes the offense will look better once Hurts starts to use the safety valve. We've talked about checkdowns, and he doesn't do it. You know, sometimes easier throws are there. Maybe he's looking for the big play, especially if you're losing. You know, you're trying to work your way back. You go back to that Bills game. How did it really work? A, they went traditional offense. Come on, Brian and Nick. But B, he wasn't taking shots downfield. Kenny G's open, 2-3 yard gain, and then he catches it and gains 3 or 4 more yards with his legs. That's there. Got it. A.J. Brown, a couple first downs that way. So I do like that one. Once Hurts realizes that that stuff's there, which is something Dak Prescott did, which is something Josh Allen did, even though the Eagles ended up winning that game, which is obviously something that Brock Purdy did when Deebo Samuel was wide open in the middle of the field. He wasn't afraid to check it down to Christian McCaffrey. Once Jalen Hurts starts realizing the safety valves are there, the checkdowns are there, the offense will look better. Are you in agreement there? I don't hate it.
No, I like it. It's a good.
Instead of holding the ball for too long and waiting for somebody to get open. Okay. The overreaction, which might not be an overreaction for all we know, but in the spirit of the conversation. What if Sirianni isn't the brightest offensive mind? It's now being reported or straight up told by Dave Spadaro that this is Nick Sirianni's offense. We had Jeff McLane on earlier today. Jeff had an episode of his podcast talking about it, so I had him expand on it on the show today. And it's Nick Sirianni's offense. Brian Johnson gets a lot of heat. It's Nick Sirianni's offense. Brian Johnson calls the plays, and maybe he is calling plays in the wrong time. But it is Nick Sirianni's offense that isn't looking all that great. We've talked about losing coordinators. Well, maybe you also lost more of an offensive mind in Shane Steichen. Now, does Brian Johnson have input, and is his input not helpful? It was still Sirianni's offense last year, allegedly. But Shane Steichen was obviously very involved. So did Steichen provide better input than Brian Johnson has this year? I'm not 100% sure, right? Like, we're never going to really find that out. But Tyrone's overreaction is, what if Nick Sirianni isn't that bright of an offensive mind? It might not be crazy.
It's not that crazy. It's really not. Like, I don't go down that path of, it's like, and I don't think Tyrone goes down the path either, considering he's saying this is the overreaction of, what is he as a coach? I think we had the people saying cheerleader, like went more than a coach, anything like that. Like,
Right.
Not going down that path entirely, but you have to start to question as much as Brian Johnson's been criticized this season, Sirianni's been able to skate right by it until just about right now. And I think part of this conversation is maybe there's some retroactive blame. And, oh, by the way, we've pointed out plenty of times when he was in control, full control, when he had all the keys to the offense.
They were, was that 2-7 or 2-5? 2-5.
Through 7 games. Now, not as talented a team, not the same version of Jalen Hurts, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But leaps that Jalen Hurts made under Steichen. Leaps he made while Steichen was calling the offense. And while there was heavy input. And, oh, by the way, like Steichen is living a little bit of the Frank Reich arc right now.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's living like the character arc. I'm not saying same coaches.
Right.
I'm just saying the character arc here is like shockingly similar, where it's kind of funny, honestly. The fact that like we're having the similar conversation. It's not the same. It's not
Right.
mirroring situations.
No,
but
because Steichen, you can make the case, has been a lot more successful so far.
well, no, early. I mean, that's what it is. The early on success.
Right.
Like early on success, your coaching job. We long for that offensive coordinator to be back because the offense doesn't feel the same.
That doesn't look the same.
And now slowly, I'm surprised we haven't gotten is Sirianni the same coach without Steichen? Real focused conversation yet.
Did Reich get hired 2 years after the Super Bowl?
That was right after the Super Bowl.
Right after. So who took over?
Mike Groh, right?
Mike Groh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the other name that left that year was the John DeFilippo. He was the quarterback's coach.
Vikings offensive coordinator, I think, after that.
And there was the beef between, apparently Wentz didn't like getting coached too hard, but that's also when he played his best, when DeFilippo was on his rear end. And then DeFilippo and Zimmer did not see eye to eye because Zimmer would have been a great head coach here. He wanted to run the football more. And DeFilippo wanted to throw the football more.
DeFilippo recalled the old Howie Jeffrey
the Howie.
Eagles way.
Yeah, jeez. All right. So many overreactions. Here are the overreactions. Hurts has regressed. Desai stinks. Gannon's better. Team has hit a wall. This was yours. There's potentially 2 more losses on this schedule, and one of them could be the doomsday scenario of Jonathan Gannon walking in here and winning. The other loss being this upcoming Monday, so you would lose 3 straight games. Should have lost to the Bills. Not a top 10 team. That one I laughed at it. But in the spirit of the show today, I said I would not yell at anyone for saying something crazy. On either side, devil's advocate or overreaction. A.J. Brown's a front runner, only plays well when things are going well. Lane Johnson and the offensive line are starting to lose it, even though Lane Johnson has played 2 good weeks back-to-back. Tommy DeVito will carve up the defense. To then VT Ron, who called in later, said Tommy DeVito may catch lightning in the bottle against the Eagles because this is a good defense to do it against. I'll get to this Bill Barnwell story in a second because it tells you just how bad things are defensively. Locker room is in shambles. Our man, Coach Mike, said the team has been doomed since week 4. This is when they were 3-0. All right? Eagles were 3-0. And we're 10-1 before the last 2 weeks, but the team has been doomed since week 4. Sirianni losing the locker room. And what if Sirianni isn't all that bright offensively? A lot of overreactions on this You Call It Tuesday. Now, this Bill Barnwell story. So what he did was he wrote up on, it was Barnwell makes sense of Sunday's 4 biggest losses. Is it time to worry about the Chiefs, Eagles, Lions, and Jags? So obviously I don't care about 3 of those teams. I care about the Eagles. And it's a long piece for all the teams. So I'm going to kind of go through this, but I'll give you a little blurbs of it because I read it before obviously doing this. So here's the first line that I highlighted. Let's keep it simple. The Eagles' defense is bad. I think we can all agree that. And he says, not bad by last year's standards, not bad by Philadelphia standards, not bad by their expectations heading into the season, not bad by the measure of other Super Bowl contenders. Over this 6-game stretch that followed the winner of the Dolphins, They have a strong case as one of the worst defenses in football. In the situation that matters most, the Eagles have come up wanting. Since the second Commanders game, Sean Desai's defense ranks last in third down conversion rate. That was the game where they scored 38 points, but still barely won. They've allowed opposing teams to move the chains a league-high 54.8% of the time. They've also gone 8 for 14 on fourth downs. So opposing teams have converted over 50% on fourth downs during this stretch. The Cowboys are right in that ballpark during Sunday's comfortable victory, going 9 of 16 on third downs and adding a fourth down conversion on their only try for good measure. Dak Prescott and the Dallas offense were 6 for 8 in the first half, allowing the Cowboys to get out to a 24-6 lead. Then he talks about the red zone, right? So we're not done.
Oh, surely it gets better from here, right?
No.
Oh.
What about the red zone? There, too, the Eagles haven't had answers. Opposing teams have scored 18 touchdowns in 23 trips inside the red zone. That's a 78.3% success rate, which, Ray, is the worst in any defense in this stretch. Again, this is since the second Commanders game, which would have been what? Week 8? Week 7? It was before the Dolphins game. They had the Week 9 bye, or Week 10 bye, so Cowboys was in Week 9. Week 8 was the Dolphins. Week 8 was the Commanders game. All right, so since Week 8, all these numbers. He says, to be fair, Philly has come up with stuffs for 0 points on the other 5 possessions, including a pair of stops against the Cowboys in the first match. Remember, there's the block kick by Jalen Carter as well. All right. This one is alarming because we talk about momentum in sports all the time. We talk about swings in football. This one is alarming. The Eagles have been lax with letting teams score before halftime. Opponents have scored on their final meaningful drive. Now, of course, not like 5 seconds left. They just need the ball and go to halftime. Opponents have scored on their final meaningful drive of the first half in each of those 6 games. Again, there's a little bit of bad luck here as they've been the victims of a 60 and 61-yard field goal over that stretch, but teams have been able to both score and squeeze the clock to prevent them from marching downfield on offense. Because the Eagles have been basically just burning clock at the end. Most disconcertingly, though, the pass defense feels broken. The 2022 defense approached league records with 70 sacks, and the pass pressure helped produce career seasons for James Bradbury and C.J. Gardner-Johnson in the secondary. There were concerns about how the defense would hold up with the changes at the second and third levels, but the Eagles don't really have a place to hang their hat right now. Over the past 6 games, they rank 30th in pressure rate as they've bothered opposing quarterbacks just 24% of the time. Over that same stretch last season, they were pressuring opposing passers just under 35% of the time, which was 5th best in football. They posted just a 12.7% sack rate from Week 8 to Week 4. Oh, no, sorry. They posted a 12.7 sack rate from Week 8 to Week 14 last season, which was comfortably best in football. Now, one of the issues this year, the Eagles not getting pressure. They also don't have the same caliber of coverage. So he said that the Eagles ranked 11th in QBR allowed when they didn't pressure the quarterback. So every play, you think about every single play last year where they didn't get any pressure on the quarterback, not sack, but no pressure whatsoever, they were 11th in QBR. From Week 8 on this season, same exact category, they're 27th. There is a major fall off in this defense right now. And this is one I keep on going back to. I don't know how they fix it. If the pass rush isn't getting home, is the pass rush all of a sudden going to start getting home? There's not some young phenom in the minor leagues that you call up that gets hot. Like, no, who you have on the field is who you have. The question is whether or not these guys are just gassed from since bye week, Chiefs, short week, Bills, overtime, Niners, Cowboys. They may benefit from this flex, but it's one game or one extra day, and you have to travel to Seattle for it. I don't know if these guys are all of a sudden going to get healthy. You know what I mean? I don't know if these getting healthy is getting the bye week or not needing to win week 18. It's concerning the defense is this bad, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Your thoughts, Ray? I'm sorry for bringing you down even more.
Oh, no, it's okay. I mean, I'm fully aware that my holiday season's been ruined by this team, so I'm all in. So just, you know what? In the spirit of today's show, to play a little devil's advocate.
Oh, okay. All right. We got a devil's advocate here.
When you compare week 8 through week 14 last season to week 8 through week 14 this season, this is the list of teams, the list of heavy hitters in which they played through week 8 through week 14. The Pittsburgh Steelers, which we all remember how that game went, crushed them. The Texans in the Thursday night game that nobody paid too much attention to because there was something else big going on in the city at that point. I don't want to talk about the series because I'm going to bring myself right back down. The Commanders, the Colts, the Packers, the Titans, and the Giants. That was your list of teams played through 8 through 14. Not quite the list of heavy hitters they played through week 8 through 14 this time around.
That's a good point.
Now, that's all to say.
These are the teams that you're going to play in the playoffs.
Yes, that's a great point, and that is a point that I also probably should have considered saying.
It's the devil's advocate to the devil's advocate.
That's the great devil's advocate. I was going to just go with the point of saying, while I try to make myself feel encouraged by that stretch, how bad it's been, how disgusting it's been, I really don't think it matters too much for you in that one. Like, the idea, if the team's hit a wall, I don't know where they climb themselves out of that, where they find their way out of it, because we're talking about the number of snaps for Sweat, the fact that Carter, Davis, are they ready to handle?
Rookie Wall, and then Jordan Davis, not rookie, but playing way more than he did last year.
Right, and talking about Brandon Graham at his stage of his career, like the number of guys that, Fletcher Cox, you could probably argue has been amongst the most valuable defensive players they've had this season.
Yeah.
And
after Zach Cunningham.
And he, at this point, also at his age, when do you start getting worried about that? Like, we knew there was going to be drop-off between the second and third
I pointed
level.
out, he's become kind of like Jason Peters, where, last week was the first week in 3 or 4 games he didn't limp off the field. And I mean that respectfully.
Right.
I'm using a comparison.
I understand the comparison you're trying to draw. I think he gets himself back on the field much quicker and
he does
plays more than what you would expect for Peters at that point. But I understand the comparison you're throwing out there with him. I think there's a lot of thought with this defense. Like, you didn't consider. There's so much that's gone into this defense going to this point. Like, I think it's a combination of that wall scheme, and you don't have the rotation, or you're not utilizing the rotation in the way, because I don't know what Nolan Smith is at this point. What I do know, and you mentioned this play yesterday, for the love of all wonderful things in this world, I don't care if you're trying to give him give a different look to the offense. Him backing up in coverage is a disaster.
Yeah, that was awful.
You compared him when he was drafted to Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
Go ask the Arizona Cardinals what happened to Hassan Reddick's career when they decided, you know what, we're not just going to throw him off the edge. We're going to see if he can actually play back here.
Yeah, and then he goes to Carolina and has a resurgence in his career.
All of a sudden he's good.
Because he's playing with the coach that coached him in college.
Right. Well, and also the Cardinals, after they didn't pick up the option, decided, let's try him out here. It can't get any worse. Oh, it got good.
Yeah.
It's like, no. But anyways, don't do that with Nolan Smith. That's the point of that. I could go on the diatribe about that. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, he looked like a deer in the headlights, man.
To tie this thing all the way back, I could play the devil's advocate of, who they played. Ultimately, it's not overreaction to say this defense is bad. Like,
no,
Barnwell,
that's fact, actually.
Wonderfully written there. This defense has been bad.
It's bad.
I thought the beginning of the season, for the personnel, for the changes, for all those things, I thought they were doing a good job. Is this, if we want to call it the second half of what we've seen so far, over this gauntlet, over this stretch, only so many times you can hang your hat on the Kansas City second half.
Yep. All right, so I want to thank Bill Barnwell for putting that together.
Thanks a lot.
Not thanking him for my my mental health with the Eagles, but thank him for contributing to the show to really explain how bad things have been for the defense. All right, we got one segment left. Would love to hear from you. 610-632-0975, the number to climb in. So last segment on this You Call It Tuesday. You call in and either try to play devil's advocate. Why has it been so bad for the Eagles the last 2 weeks? But, why should we feel good about the Eagles still moving forward? That's basically what the devil's advocate is. It's, hold on, well, this is happening because of this, and this is happening because of that. The schedule was a big one. That's been something that's been brought up a lot. The 10 days rest for the 49ers, the 10 days rest for the Cowboys. The Eagles are going through the gauntlet. These teams aren't playing tough teams before the Eagles, all that kind of stuff, right? Or you can play the overreaction route and overreact to what's happened in the last 2 weeks to the point where somebody said the Eagles aren't even a top 10 team anymore. I'm not ripping you for it. I think you're wrong, but that's okay. But I want to hear from you. You Call It Tuesday, 610-632-0975. And I got to touch on, because the best show ever is coming your way at 2 o'clock. I got to touch on I've been saving it, the Mariah and Bublé conversation. That will not end, because there's 13 more days until the big day. We'll get into that next right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Michael Bublé is not the best Christmas singer. I'm Ray Dodd, and this update is brought to you by the Feast of the Seven Fishes. Join Ricky Metallico and MMR's Marissa Magna as they celebrate
Here the holiday season. Even though you guys know I'm not going to be in the holiday spirit until Christmas Eve, as long as everything is going well. Because being excited the last couple of years has not really played out well for me. But that doesn't mean I'm not still around the holiday stuff, right? And that doesn't mean I won't still talk about the holidays. Yeah, I got a tweet earlier today from our man Dawood, who I saw at Marie's Cozy Corner the other day. He's wondering where you were at, Ray. He said I sounded good in the holiday greeting, like as if I had some holiday spirit. Like, look, I want other people to have I want to have a good holiday. And I'm going to wish you a happy holiday today. Happy holidays, Ray.
Happy holidays to you, too.
Hey, keep that away from me.
Holidays to you, too.
Thank you. Just want to be happy on the 24th and 25th. I will give up the first 23 days of Christmas. The 25 days of Christmas, 21st, 23 mean nothing to me this year. Okay?
Are you celebrating your birthday, or are we throwing that out, too?
I'm never really big. That's just another day. Anyways. Shh. All right? I don't want people caring about that stuff. Anyways.
Oh, you set yourself a failure with that one.
Stop, man. Come on. But obviously, we're still going to talk about holiday stuff on the air. Like, I can't wait to get into all the fun holiday conversations. I'm off the 21st through the 26th. So, next week, hopefully after an Eagles victory, and as this week goes on, because at some point we need to lighten up the mood a little bit, which is why I'm kind of getting into this now. There's going to be all kinds of stuff to talk about. Holiday treats, holiday festivities, what you're doing. And, of course, another year of Michael Bublé talk. Here's where all you Michael Bublé haters are just absolutely wrong. And just don't see the bigger picture. That's your biggest problem. You guys are blinded by one song. Everybody's blinded by Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. It's one song. I know she's got some other songs out there. But you're blinded. And one of my biggest beefs is what Tyrone Johnson tweeted at me yesterday. And something that Anthony used to get on me for last year. A lot of callers. What's the original Bublé song? Because I know Mariah, that's her song. All I Want for Christmas Is You. She didn't just, make it better. No, that is her song. But the whole, original Christmas song bull, man, these songs have been written since the 1930s, dude. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. I've been hearing that for freaking 80 years. It's the same songs. Everybody remakes them. Mariah Carey has redone songs. I see him in there all heated up. And now all of a sudden, Bublé's not allowed to redo songs. The guy has a great voice. He's talented. And the conversation is not who has the bigger hit. The conversation is who has the better catalog. And Michael Bublé has the better holiday catalog. And I could say the best holiday catalog in modern history. You still have your OGs. I got to pay respect to Andy Williams and Bing and Frank. I'm a big Frank Holiday guy. Nat King Cole. I mean, the Christmas song is my favorite one. Out of every song. Nat King Cole's Christmas song is my favorite one. Not even anything Bublé. But in terms of overall catalog, Bublé's number one.
Are you done?
Go ahead.
Is that it?
Say your piece.
You are crowning this man who has done nothing creatively to enhance what we've got Christmas-wise.
What do you mean?
Absolutely nothing. The classics that you keep talking, he does them so well. It's so nice to see him do them. Mariah made a classic.
Okay.
November 1st, we have videos of her being unfrozen, and it's Mariah's season.
I mean, it's
never
it's jumped the
Bublé's
shark.
season.
It's gotten ridiculous. If you do November 1st touch tunes, you're dead to me. With All I Want for Christmas Is You.
I'm not telling you that I'm jumping on November 1st, but they say it's Mariah's season. 2 months of the year, not one, two. She jumps over Thanksgiving,
Hold on
and
a
it's
second.
Mariah's
Hold on a
season.
second. Bublé's season's strong too. I love the one of my favorite things is the
Who calls it Bublé season?
Dude,
Who are these people?
Just look it up. The Undertaker, when the Undertaker, that gif of him popping up from his coffin, they go, Oh, no. It's December 1st, and then boom, there's Bublé.
Oh, December 1st is when he gets to show up. We start listening to him in December. No, these people start listening to Mariah in November.
You listen to one song from Mariah November 1st.
Christmas classic.
It's one song that has jumped the shark that too many people play just to play it at this point.
Oh, that's bogus. And you know that's bogus. You don't even
play
believe
it just
that.
to play it.
That's your overreaction.
People play it just to play it at this point because, I got to do it. I got to continue the tradition.
No. It's become a part of the Christmas fabric, the holiday fabric.
Bublé is a part of the fabric, bro.
No.
Look
not
at the
in
catalog, man.
He keeps it. He gets to be on the outskirts of all this. It's all Bublé wrote this. We need a fresh take on it. We're going to play his version of it.
Now,
Mariah created a new classic. Years after all the classics were written, she created a new classic. She goes to number one every single year. And you're sitting here, ooh, Michael Bublé.
Actually, she's not this year. The Jingle Bell Rock. No. What's her name?
She is now set the record.
Brenda Lee?
Set the Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Yeah, she's back. She's back on top. It's awesome.
She might have broken the record because
Mariah's lost it.
No, she hasn't.
You've lost Brenda Lee, dude.
You've lost
She's losing to Brenda Lee.
Mariah Carey set the record for the longest time from a release date to number one listing.
It's one song.
And she does it every year.
Okay.
She owns the season.
Okay.
She owns the season.
One song, which is why I made this point on social media, and I think it is probably the greatest point to shut all you guys up.
You won't.
All I Want for Christmas Is You is a great song. Number one, I say better than any of the Bublé songs. That one song. So basically, it's the 2007 NBA Finals for me.
It's not.
It's Spurs, Cavs. Michael Bublé is Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili. All right? That's Bublé. All I Want for Christmas Is You is LeBron. But the rest of that team is Anderson Varejao. It's Drew Gooden. It's my man Big Z's, the Drunas Ilgauskas. It's Eric Snow, dude. He was minutes away from falling asleep doing color analyst work. And that's why the Spurs swept the Cavs in 2007. And that's why Bublé sweeps Mariah Carey in this conversation.
That's just not true. That's not how this works. You want to talk a comparison? Michael Bublé is the post-run Phillies. It is all the names you recognize, but slightly worse. But worse. He plays all the classics, but it's worse because he didn't write the classic, and he's not the most iconic voice on that classic.
I'm not saying it. I already told you, Mariah Carey has the number one song, but we're not talking about playing classics.
If I'm going to play Christmas music, it's not going to be all.
Dude, you want to talk about radio? Radio's play the hits. The hit is Eagles.
The hit is Mariah.
And Bublé's all over the radio.
It's Mariah's season, man.
I do more research. How about this? I looked up the top 20 stream songs so far this year. Yeah, Mariah's up there. Once or twice. Bublé's on there 4 times.
Oh, congrats on your...
Because the catalog is better,
12,
and that's the
16,
conversation.
18,
Michael
and 20.
Bublé has the better overall Christmas catalog than Mariah Carey, and the Bublé catalog is better than any other person that's doing it right now.
Bublé is the mid-major. That's a cool story once in a while here.
No.
Mariah is the number one seed, dominating
that gets knocked off by the 16
that's going
seed.
to win the title.
She gets knocked
no,
off.
She doesn't.
She's Virginia.
Oh, stop it. She's not
Mariah's Virginia. You go in there, great regular season, because your November 1st is when she gets started. And then when it comes time to the big day, Christmas Day, she gets knocked out first round.
She wins by 20. She's the run that Villanova went on against Oklahoma in the Final Four.
Absolutely not.
You know how fired up you have to get me to reference a Villanova big win?
This is just December 12th. You wait. I got more to back it up. You think I'm bringing everything to the table today?
Fine. We just got started here. Have a holiday, Jonas. Have a holiday.
Let's go back to the phones. On this You Call It Tuesday, devil's advocate or overreaction? Tasty Cake Dom. What's up, Dommy?
Andrew? Hey, Ray.
How you doing, Dom?
Boy, when I was a kid, Andrew, they would give an hour. Right around this time of year, they would give Bing an hour. And the country would stop to hear him sing it. Like, he got Super Bowl ratings.
Yeah.
To hear him sing that song.
Bing Crosby's White Christmas is it's incredible. It's iconic.
I mean, my mom and dad, they had to see that show and it was the same damn show every year.
Oh, really? Really?
He's trimming the tree with his kids.
That's awesome.
It was the same damn show. The only other thing I remember is he did a duet with David Bowie. That was like magically great.
That's cool.
It's Even YouTube. He's singing one song and David Bowie's singing another Christmas song back to each other. It's unbelievably great.
Oh, wow.
There were, you wouldn't think David Bowie and Bing Crosby go together, but it's tremendous.
All right.
So the last 2 days I've been listening to you guys. Like this morning, I thought you were great with the morning show this morning.
Oh, thank you. It was fun.
This morning, right, Andrew? John saying the fan base is soft. The fan base isn't as passionate or aren't as tough as they once were. Right now, I'm hearing calls the last 2 games. Here's a guy that came in with a pile of poop, and his first year he goes to the playoffs. The second year he has the best record in the NFL and goes to the Super Bowl. And if you read the paper today, there's 3 teams in the NFL that are 10-3. He's one of them. Now, the last 2 weeks you have to be concerned. I'm not saying don't be concerned, but I believe, Andrew, it's so hard to win 9 in a row in the NFL. The 49ers are going to lose it. They probably will lose to Baltimore. If the Eagles just do their thing and win out, they're going to get home field. And then somebody's got to come in here in the playoffs without 10 days rest. Everybody will have equal rest. And I want to see somebody beat us here on a level playing field. That's what I want.
I love this, Dom. I appreciate this because it is something that we talked about after the 49ers game. We looked at the schedules for the remainder of the 2 teams. And thanks for the call, Dom, as always. So we looked at the schedules for the remainder of actually, we did 4 teams. We did Eagles, Cowboys, 49ers, and Lions. Now, the Lions have already lost. What did we say? The Lions 4-1. So they got 1 loss so far. They have 4 games left. I didn't think it was going to be this past weekend that they would lose. We said 4-1 for the Eagles, 4-1 for the Niners, and 3-2 for the Cowboys. And we said we didn't know what the loss would be for the Eagles. And I kind of felt maybe it was the Cowboys game. I obviously made the pick that the Eagles would win on the pregame show. But at the time of the exercise, I said 4-1 Eagles, 4-1 Niners, 3-2 Cowboys, 4-1 Lions. If you looked at the Cowboys schedule, if you look at it now, it's still very difficult. They have the Bills, they have the Dolphins remaining. Like they got it pretty damn tough. The Eagles, now that they lost on Sunday, obviously have to win out. And it starts this upcoming Monday with the Seattle Seahawks, which is going to be a very difficult test. Should, I know is the key word, but should absolutely beat the Giants twice and the Cardinals, sandwiched in between the 2 of those games. The 49ers do have to play the Ravens. That's going to be a tough game for both teams. So, Ray, in the spirit of devil's advocate, in the spirit of looking for glimmers of hope, do you still believe, let's say, forget the Eagles for a second, because I know your doomsday scenario is they lose again this Monday, which will be 3 straight games, and they lose to Jonathan Gannon. That's the doomsday scenario. Do the 49ers still win out?
Would lean, again, I think this is so much of my thought process right now, but I think so. It's hard to guarantee a team winning. When we did the exercise, it was 5 straight games. And I was like, I think there's probably a misstep in there. And I don't think they played their A game against the Seahawks and against Drew Lock on the other side.
And they didn't, and they won.
They won comfortably. They won to the point where the spread on Friday that was available was not covered by the Seahawks. And so, yeah, I think just looking at them the way they're playing, you would expect them to win out, but it's hard for me to guarantee that number of wins. So maybe there is the loss there, the Ravens. Maybe there's the letdown spot. I mean, they could also be if things go doomsday-wise for the Eagles, they could be in a position where they lose another game, but they lose another game because it comes at the end.
Who, for the Niners?
For the Niners.
So the Rams.
Yeah, where, there's a chance where it breaks out for them. They beat the Ravens, and the Eagles take the misstep that we don't expect but could see coming this Monday. And all of a sudden, 49ers, they take care of business.
Well, yeah, if the Eagles lose on Monday, then kiss the one seed goodbye.
Right.
There's basically no shot at that point because I don't think the Niners drop 2 games. They have 4 games left. Cardinals in Arizona, which, come on, that should be a win for San Francisco. At home, but against the Ravens. On the road against the Commanders. At home against the Rams. I don't see 2 losses for the Niners. So the Eagles have to win out. And the Niners need to drop one of these games. And if there's any game for them to lose, it would be the Ravens game. And so if that's the case, then the Eagles get back to the 1 seed. If not, then the next question is the 2 seed. So right now, the playoff picture. All right. So in the AFC, just to update you guys on all this, because the Dolphins lost last night, which was shocking. And that's a choke job. When the Ravens win, you need to keep up with them. They lose to freaking Will Levis and the Titans. And so the Dolphins drop to the 2 spot. The Ravens climb up to the 1 spot because the Dolphins were actually 1 seed last week and would have had home field advantage in the bye if the season had ended. So the Ravens are now the 1 seed, Dolphins the 2 seed, Chiefs 3, Jags 4. Those are your division leaders. Your wild card teams right now, the Browns, Steelers, and Colts. So the Browns would be taking on the Jags. The Steelers would be taking on the Chiefs, and the Dolphins would be taking on the Colts. The Colts are 7-6, as are the Steelers. The teams on the bubble right now, there are 4 7-6 teams. Texans, who are banged up, so that season might be coming to an end for them. Broncos, Bengals, and Bills. The Bills, that was a very impressive win for them this past week because they absolutely, they needed it for their season to stay alive. I'll ask you, Ray. We kind of did this last week. You have Browns, Steelers, Colts right now. Do the Browns hang on with Joe Flacco in that defense?
Yes, because of the competition.
Do the Steelers fall out? I say yes.
Yes, but of course they'll have the winning record because Mike Tomlin needs to protect the graphic.
Absolutely. Do the Colts stay in?
No.
All right, so if you have 2 teams falling out, the Colts and Steelers, that means 2 teams have to climb in. From the Texans, Broncos, Bengals, and Bills. I think the Bills find a way to get in.
I think they find a way to the dance, and I think your boy.
Bronco country, let's ride.
Broncos country, let's get crushed as the 7 seed in the first round of the playoffs.
Fair. To the Dolphins?
Oh, no. Could you imagine the rematch of the 70-20 game and the Broncos win that game?
That'd be awesome.
Now I think I found what I'm rooting for.
All right, let's go. Let's go Broncos. I'm pretty sure the Chargers are 5-8. Herbert's done. Raiders are 5-8. Jets are 5-8. Titans are 5-8. I don't think either of those teams climb in.
While we're looking ahead here, Thursday Night Football, Easton Stick and Aiden O'Connell.
Oh.
This is now the week where Al Michaels found out he's not calling a playoff game this year. I mean, if there's ever a time for a guy to take the PTO.
Yeah, now's the time. In the NFC, Niners 1 seed, Cowboys 2 seed, Lions 3, Bucks 4. Those are your division leaders. Eagles, of course, the first wild card team. Vikings, and then Packers. The Eagles will be taking on the Buccaneers in Tampa. The Vikings will be taking on the Lions, and the Packers will be taking on the Cowboys. The Packers are 6-7. The Vikings are 7-6. Are those 2 teams in the playoffs when it's all said and done?
Packers, of course. Packers, of course, are there.
It's your boy, Jordan Love.
No, they're just there. Well, I mean, yeah, because he's elevating them to a whole new level. They found their franchise guy. It's been a long time since they've had one of those. So it's good to have him. Vikings. Well, there's nobody good. That's the problem.
Well, so your teams in the runner-up that are all 6-7. So they're tied record-wise with the Packers, 1 game back of the Vikings. Rams, Seahawks, Falcons, Saints. Crazy the Falcons and Saints are in the playoff race and not just because of their division.
Seahawks replace the Vikings.
Seahawks?
They still got, I think it's Eagles. I remember we talked about them having a rough end to it, but.
They have the Eagles, Titans, Steelers, and Cardinals. No, that's actually.
It was because of the 49ers games. I guess this was when we were looking back 2 months ago. Yeah.
So if they lose Monday, when they lose Monday, right? They'll be 6-8, and then they win 3 straight to get to 9-8, is what you're saying. So you think the Vikings drop out?
They're going to lose Monday, and then they'll have to win 3 straight. Yeah.
Man, you are down. Holy hell. Go listen to some Mariah. Vikings
Don't have to tell me twice.
Vikings are 7-6. So they have the Bengals, Lions, Packers, and Lions. Oh boy, that's tough for them.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw Nick Mullins take the field. That's kind of more where I'm at with that team.
Yeah, that's tough for them. All right, and then I'll give your pack. Bucks, please win.
Yeah, they'll take care of business.
Thank you.
Jordan Love left with the lead. You know,
I need them to beat the Bucks, Ray. All right, for my own reasons. Panthers should be a win, and then you got Vikings and Bears. So 2-2. Let's say 2-2 at worst. They're 8-9. They could still be in the playoffs with an 8-9 record. That's absolutely crazy.
Jordan Love will do it, and he'll shock the world. Oh, never mind. Actually, because I think I know who the 2 seed's going to be. I don't want to say that the Packers are going to beat them.
Could be it could be the Eagles.
Could be the Eagles.
Come on, man. You can't be doing that.
Nope, not doing that. That's why I stopped myself. Okay,
So
this is
that's
overreaction Tuesday.
So I believe. Look, Eagles are winning the division. Okay, I will make the statement now. The Eagles are winning the NFC East. That's not changing. Again, if you don't know, if both the Eagles and Cowboys win out, the Eagles win the division. Even though they're both tied right now and the Cowboys are ahead of them technically. But the Eagles, if they both win out, the Eagles win the division. I think the Cowboys have a loss in front of them, which would also help out the Eagles' cushion a little bit. And if the Eagles lose to the Cardinals, I think that's it, right? Because of the common opponent. Cowboys lost to the Cardinals. Or if the Eagles beat I don't know. I got to really deep dive into this. But let's just say the Eagles win the division. Their potential opponents in the first round would be either the Vikings, if they fall down to 7, the Packers, if they remain at 7, the Rams, if they climb up to 7, Seahawks, Falcons, Saints. There's not really a team that scares you. Because you can't even do the Seattle thing because it's in Philly. The only thing that could scare you is Geno Smith's healthier and he carves up the defense with DK and Tyler Lockett and Kenneth Walker.
Yeah.
I can't be afraid of Jalen Reed and Jordan Love in a playoff game. I can't be.
Hey, last year's historic defense, 33 points. Love came into the game. It's like the one good game the Packers had.
I can't be scared of Josh Dobbs. Rams, I guess, offensively, and if Aaron Donald has a monstrous performance, maybe. But I mean, I'm talking about a team that's 6-7 right now. Like I don't have fear in any of these teams. I can't sit here on December 12th and be afraid of a team that's under 500 to potentially beat the Eagles, upset them in the first round of the playoffs. I can't do that. And so the Eagles will win the division. They will then win the wild card round. And they will move on to the divisional round of the playoffs, and it will be reseeded, and they'll probably play who? So the 49ers would play would they play the Cowboys?
Yeah, they would play the Cowboys if the Lions didn't lose. Lions lose, then whoever beats the Lions would play the 49ers if Eagles Cowboys.
So what you're saying is the best scenario for the Eagles is Cowboys upsetting the Lions.
No.
Yeah, and then you're playing a team that's beat up. And if the Cowboys win, the Eagles have home field in the NFC Championship game. If the Cowboys were to beat the Niners. If the Niners were to beat the Cowboys in this playoff scenario where the Eagles win the division, then, of course, it's the NFC Championship game in San Francisco, which is, we've been thinking it's going to be those two teams, regardless, just whether it's East Coast or West Coast. Would we root for the Cowboys? I think we would. And it wouldn't be, I want to see the Cowboys so we can end their season. It wouldn't be because of that. I think it would be strictly matchup-wise. You would rather see the Cowboys. You would root for the Cowboys to beat the 49ers. I think logically that would be the right way to approach it. I know it would feel dirty as hell, but I believe that would be the logical approach would be to beat the Cowboys. Now, I know there's the macho man out there that does the, no, I want to beat the Niners. Proved them all along. Hey, I'm all about the easier road, man. I don't care. Life's hard enough, bro.
Yeah, I don't care.
Give me the easy road. So let's say it works out where it's Eagles-Lions in the divisional round, Niners-Cowboys in the divisional round. We would root for the Cowboys. What a way to close out a show, Ray. On this Overreaction Tuesday.
I'm scared they're going to have the trash cans outside for us.
Am I wrong?
You're right.
You don't want to say it, but
they're going to boo us.
I'm not wrong. All right, best show ever coming your way next. Make sure you're listening at 4 o'clock for this, the prize wheel because it's a double prize today. Everybody have a great rest of your day. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Have a little bit more fun with this holiday stuff as well right here, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
Sixers win big. I'm Ray Dunn. This update is brought to you by Wawa. Wawa has you covered with gift cards for everyone on your shopping list. Happy holidays from Wawa. Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, well, they were able to take that